Good day all, current day, December 23rd, Novum here, and I present to you a compilation of the Persona 3 Reload video essays I did for my school project from February 13th all the way to December 18th. So expect to hear my crappy mic I used during Junpei 2 last year, as I didn't upgrade it until late June of this year. There will be a ton of audio differences, mix-ups, and jokes that may not be followed up on, as the gap between the time I did these videos has been pretty long, so it'll be pretty weird. So just expect a ton of mess-ups as you go through this video, as to me and my friends, this is the YouTube video form of Duke Nukem Forever. So with that said, I don't remember exactly what I said from the last 10 months, as it's been that long, so just expect crappy jokes and some stupid freshman in college humor. Please be aware that I was depressed when I covered both August and September in-game, as I went through some troubling times. So yeah, I think that's all I want to say. Please enjoy the video guys, and happy holidays.
I would never cry to a Persona song. Let's be honest. I am a
Kept you waiting, huh? Good day, classmates, and good day to the viewers on YouTube whenever this video gets published. I am back again with another video project for my video essay and editing class, and for this video, we'll be taking a stab at covering Persona 3 Reload. This video aims to cover the entire story of Persona 3 Reload first, and then make comparisons, and then discuss a bit about social links, and discuss the main message of Persona 3. This video is going to be really long, as you can see from like the time thing on the YouTube thumbnail, so me, Annie, Lai, and Andrew knew what we were getting ourselves into. And for the people on YouTube, this video has been in production for a good while, and there's been days, weeks, and months where we've been working on the script and have been doing voiceovers as we go. So my microphone quality will be all over the place as I recorded these on different days, including when I was sick, tired, and had gone through some difficult things in my life. Hopefully, around the August chapter in this video, my mic will hopefully sound pretty good. So please, make something, take a seat, or lay down, press play, and relax. Thank you for stopping by.
Crazy how time flies when I wonder if the path is in the right direction. But I do believe things come to light by accident when it remains on. Sounds like it's meant to be.
Wake up, the space made when things fall apart. What matters at the end is how you left them all. Fire in my soul, fire in my heart. Till you see on the other side of stars. I'm going.
Oh, the journey starts from where we do first step. No one's sure what lies ahead before it breaks. Brothers may be rough and tough, but we will live somewhere.
Nothing easy, get up and go, get it go.
Sometimes this journey is about the chase, not about the destination of the world. No matter how far,
No matter how far,
how you go,
how you go,
how long can you
no time to waste. Gotta set your light, go get it burning.
Just put it to my head. And then pull the trigger.
In this cutscene, we are introduced to our character, Roger, Makoto Yuki, wearing the classic Sony Walkmans. And this girl,
To my head.
I like how he doesn't even look concerned at all. It would be pretty funny if one of the coffins just ate us alive, resulting in an instant game over. Just like one of the mimic chests from Dark Souls. We are then introduced to this mysterious boy. We don't know if he's a resident here, but he has the ability to teleport, and you know how normal that is in a Persona game, and he allows us to write our name on a contract sheet.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Who's there?
After nearly getting shot, we meet two more characters, Mitsuru Kirijo and Yukari Takeba, who both lives in the dorm where we will be staying in.
Huh? Well, it's sort of like a hobby? I mean, not a hobby, but...
You know how it is these days. It's for self-defense. It's not a real gun, of course.
Then what's the point of it being self-defense? And to also test how sane and trustworthy Yukari is, we can ask her about the boy and the contract.
Huh? Contract? What are you talking about? Can I ask you something? On your way here from the station, was everything okay?
Fuck you!
It's Takeba. Are you awake?
Check it out.
See you!
So begins our... Jesus Christ, what are those camera keys? And so begins our first day at Gekkoukan High School. So basically, this short section here allows us to get familiar with the first floor of our school and the nearby students who may be available to talk to throughout the game. And so we meet our English composition teacher, who will definitely not be a social link later on in this game.
Hey. Oh. And, does she have a boyfriend? Nobody seems to know.
Fuck you, kid, you're a dick!
Hey, shh. Be quiet.
Next up, we meet the best character in the game. The one, the only, the man, Junpei Iori, who we then nearly forgot about thanks to Yukari.
Don't say anything about last night, okay?
Last night? She's actually pretty popular. You're the man.
Welcome.
If you aren't familiar with the Persona games, this is the in-class answers minigame. Basically, this minigame allows you to get a chance of earning points towards a specific stat, which in this case is Charm. Just like the original, Persona 3 Reload only has 3 stats you can rank up with a max of only 6 levels. And social stats can be done nearly anywhere, either outside of school or in school. Like, you can eat fish and gain academic points. You can even work at a cafe for points towards Charm and Courage, or you can just study in the dorm for 1 academic point. The 3 stats that are in the game are Academics, Courage, and Charm. Academics ranges from Slacker, Average, Above Average, Smart, Intelligent, and Genius, while Charm has Plain, Unpolished, Confident, Smooth, Popular, and Charismatic. And then finally, Courage, which has Timid, Ordinary, Determined, Tough, Fearless, and Badass. These stats allows you to have access to optional areas and start optional social links with characters. It's nearly a requirement to have these ranked up if you want to start a social link or complete quests for Elizabeth. Anyway, back to the game. After coming home from school, we are introduced to another character, Shuji Ikutsuki.
Want to consider going to bed early. As they say, the early bird catches the bookworm. Get it?
You'll get used to his lame jokes.
This sucks. What's happening to me?
The dark hour occurs every day at 12 midnight.
Ikutsuki, who the fuck are you talking to? I'm sure these two know what the dark hour is, man. Come on. As our protagonist sleeps, he is summoned into the Velvet Room. Here, he meets Igor and Elizabeth. These two will play a huge role with our expedition in the Tartarus, and for now, Igor tells him that he's here to help, and he gives him a Velvet Key, so he could come back later.
Akihiko, what's wrong?
You're not gonna believe it. This thing is huge.
This is no time to joke around.
We wake up to the dorm being under attack. Yukari then enters our room and tells us that we both have to leave through the back door, while Mitsuru and Akihiko tries their best to fend off the shadow. As Yukari and our protagonists try to leave the building through the back, it then gets blocked by the shadow. And without anywhere to go now, since the back is now blocked, and the front as well, they're forced to head upstairs to the roof.
I blocked the door, so we should be safe for now. That's it! One of the monsters that attacked us! It's a shadow!
Go on.
I am thou, thou art I. From the sea of thy soul I come. I am Orpheus, master of strings.
Earth was that?
We are then thrown into our very first combat encounter with the shadows, and they seriously cooked hard with the combat UI and how everything in this game looks. And when I mean they cooked, they cooked. The UI and the Persona struck on the weaknesses and the critical attacks are very beautiful. It does a good job grasping you in and trying to go for those attacks.
Are you okay? Oh, come on!
Somebody drop a medic!
So after our first encounter with the shadows, we wake up to Yukari watching over us. We learn from her that she shares nearly a similar story with our protagonist. She doesn't live with her parents due to her father's passing and her being on different terms with her mother. She tells us that her motive is to stay with Mitsuru to find out what happened to her father. Anyway, we come back to school a week later.
Are you stupid or something?
As our protagonist comes back from school, he notices something shining on his bed. This is a Twilight fragment. These fragments will play a huge role in our expedition in the Tartarus, and it'll be covered later once the expedition starts. And these fragments can be found almost everywhere in the game.
Would you believe me if I said that a day consists of more than 24 hours?
That's the Dark Hour. A time period hidden between one day and the next.
After asking us that question, Ukutsuki and Mitsuru then asks us for our help to join SEAS as a crucial member. And surprisingly, SEAS is a school club. So attacking shadows after school sounds fun as hell. But with the drawback of most likely dying to something stupid in Tartarus that you'll probably see later in this video. After we agree, we create the full social link. Now, social links play a secondary role in the gameplay aspect of Persona 3, 4, and 5 as it allows us to connect with our cast of characters and those from our school. However, given that this is Persona 3, social links provide only two benefits. 1. Increased XP gain when fusing personas under a certain arcana, and 2. Unlocking special fusion personas to use once completing a social link.
Well then, shall we end this meeting? Shall we end? Shall we end? Get it?
Hi.
Oh my
How have you
god.
been?
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Akihiko introduces us to a familiar face who will be helping us on our journey into Tartarus.
What? Junpei? Why are you here? Don't tell me.
You gotta be stoked too, right? Having me join?
What? I guess.
We could start checking out that tower.
Oh, you mean Tartarus.
Tartar sauce? What?
Can I have a minute?
So, I asked this yesterday, but what is that tartar thing?
As our cast waits outside their school to find out what Tartarus is, the Dark Hour hits, and we witness Gekkoukan High transform into a weird structure.
This is Tartarus, the labyrinth that reveals itself during the dark hour.
Inside Tartarus, Mitsuru will be our navigator as Akiko stays behind with her. And given that the veterans of the group are staying behind, Akiko has to then appoint someone as the group leader.
The captain of a pirate ship? I'm in! Me! Pick me!
You're in charge.
Wait! Why him?
The velvet key Igor handed to us in our dream earlier then shines in our pocket, and a blue door appears to our left. With the curiosity of our protagonist, he goes to the door.
I've been waiting for you.
We then learn that our protagonist possesses the wildcard attribute, and as a wildcard, he has the ability to empower infinite personas and switch between them in battle. But, for the sake of gameplay, you can only have him carry 12 personas. With this vital information learned from our king, he allows us to leave the Velvet Room and gives us permission to enter at any time.
Open the door and come here of your own accord. I'll tell you then.
As we leave, Yukari and Junpei finally takes notice of us waiting outside the Velvet Room door. We tell them about the door, and it looks like from their reactions, we might have developed an early sign of schizophrenia.
Man, are you loco? So, it's the real deal from here on, huh?
Looks easy to get lost in.
All right, let's start by going over how to attack shadows. When faced with an enemy, you have two primary options for fending them off. Knowing how personas work will be crucial. Try summoning yours right now.
From the tutorial text, we can see attacks that can consume HP and SP. HP being your health points or your hit points, and SP being skill points. Physical attacks come in two ways. One way is by using the weapon that our party carries. So currently, the main character, our protagonist, has a sword, Junpei has a longsword, and Yukari a bow. You can easily use your physical weapons to attack the shadow at a cost of nothing, and a second way of a physical attack is having your persona do it. Having your persona do a physical attack will consume an amount of your health points depending on how severe the physical attack damage is. Low, consuming not much HP, while severe, consuming a huge amount. Even though it does sound like there's like a drawback since you lose health while using your persona to do a physical attack, sometimes having your persona use a physical attack may be better as it may deal more damage than your in-hand weapon. Health points can easily be restored in battle with recovery skills and items, so HP can be used for a while as long as you have the skills and items. Later on, for Yukari, when she gets Media Haran, it will be more beneficial. And there are only 3 types of physical attacks, which are Slash, Bash, and Pierce. Next up is the Elemental Affinities, which uses SP. Unlike HP, skill points have static costs for their usage, although the more powerful the elemental skill is, the higher cost of the SP it will take. Skill points aren't like health points where you can just keep yourself going on for a while with the usage of skills. SP uses food items, beverages, or whatever the hell type of supplements Tartarus has to keep yourself and your party going. SP itself is special to have enough of, as it can turn the tides of some situations and provides special buffs for your party or yourself. And now onto the specific affinities. Ice is an affinity I love the most because of one thing, the ability to freeze enemies. When an enemy is freezed, they can't do anything and they lose a turn. Fire is another affinity that's just there. I mean, it's fire, you burn them. There's no overtime damage or anything, nothing. Wind is just there. Electricity is an affinity like ice. There is a chance where you can shock enemies and enemies will lose that turn and they have a high chance of taking a critical hit to the face. So that's pretty good. Light and dark skills have gotten a huge markup from the original. Aiha and Koha skills still make a return from Persona 5 and are the alternative attack skills for the affinity. Hama and Mudo still exist in this game, so don't worry if you love those insta-kill effect skills. After the basic affinities, we have the Almighty skills. Almighty skills are very powerful skills to have in your back pocket just in case if you really don't want to deal with anything that's in front of your entire party. AKA, it's a big fuck you to the enemy. Now, support skills are skills that act as a passive for the user, or buffs that you can provide during battle, and these buffs are self-explanatory, as there are, buffs like increased attack, evasion, defense, and the like. With the gameplay mechanics covered for now, Mitsuru lets us fight off these shadows on our own for a bit.
Go ahead and try fighting on your own.
You, my boy, are able to possess multiple personas and summon them at will.
And then we learn about switching personas. To the shock of Mitsuru, she, Yukari, and Junpei learns that our protagonist can hold more than one persona.
Your persona just now. It looks like you really do have a special power.
Was that?
Well, it looks like he has the ability to summon different personas. I suspected as much after the events from the other day, but now we know for sure. All right.
The crew then encounters a locked treasure chest as they try to find a teleporter to leave. And remember the Twilight fragment we found on our bed? We can use it here to open up this treasure chest.
Not bad. Looks like you found a teleporter. Now use it to return to the entrance.
As the expedition ends, nothing notable can be said besides Junpei pointing out how exhausted both him and Yukari are. And don't worry, this doesn't mean anything later on.
Why do I feel so exhausted?
It's like I'm having trouble breathing. What's going on?
That's the effect of the dark hour. You'll become fatigued more easily. Don't worry.
Anyway, rank 2 full social link, baby. Let's go. And so, we move on to the next day afterwards. And today we have a school assembly, and we're hoping that no one by the name of Kenji Tomochika even talks to us. As the assembly starts, we find out that Mitsuru has been assigned class president. Junpei then brings up the point of how the Kirijo group has built Gekkoukan High, and we'll learn more about the school's involvement as Tartarus further on. For now, Mitsuru then gives a heartwarming speech for all of the students.
For this coming year.
Welcome to San and
Wait for us!
Akihiko then tells us to meet him at a police station in Paulownia Mall. And here, we meet a police officer that goes by the name of Kurosawa. And fun fact for those who just started playing this version of Persona 3 for the first time, Officer Kurosawa's voice actor is actually the original voice actor for Akihiko for the original Persona 3. Cool, huh? Officer Kurosawa's purpose will be selling us weapons, armor, and equipment for us to use in our expedition in the Tartarus. After taking care of purchasing items for your party, the entire day is up to you. The network system that is shown here in the guide will basically show the analytics of what other players did on the specific day the game's in. It could show who's doing a social link, who went into Tartarus, or who's working towards their own social stats. Using the network functionality system is not a requirement, as it's up to personal freedom on how you want to tackle your day. Now, on the map we can see a moving V. Going to the area reveals a Velvet Room door and we can go through it. Entering the Velvet Room allows Igor to discuss with Makoto about Persona fusions. And to put simply, combining Persona A and Persona B gives the result of Persona C. Igor after that also remarks about how important establishing social links are, so make sure to hang out with some of the available characters as much as you can. Elizabeth at this moment serves only as a guide for you if there's anything you want to know more about fusing personas, and that's just it. She's pretty useless. Coming back to the dorm, Mitsuru tells Makoto that Akihiko is still injured and blah blah, don't get yourself killed or whatever. So, I decided to go to Tartarus right after, and at the moment, 2 more gameplay methods are shown right through this expedition. There are shadow guards that you will encounter every few floors that are there to pose as mini bosses for our team. So just kill them. Easy peasy. And then we learn the next method in combat, which is shifting. Shifting is a basic maneuver you can perform to chain weakness attacks or shifting toward a party member that could just kill all of the shadows in a fraction of a second. This method is derived from baton passes in 5 into a much simpler form. Anyway, I took this time to go through Tartarus and fought a ton of shadows until I reached the border of this section. So, grinding time! After grinding, I eventually hit the border floor of Tartarus. Basically, this pretty much ends the progression of Tartarus for now until the next full moon. But, as a player, you are still free to go around the previous floors of Tartarus and grind there until then. Not much happens afterwards, the game just leaves it up to you on how you want to spend most of your time playing Persona 3. Anyway, the principal wants to give us a terrible speech that literally no one cares about.
Number 15, Burger.
After the speech, Mitsuru comes in and lets us know that she wants to talk to us after school. And then, we have this math teacher.
Sorry to keep you waiting. To make a long story short, I'd like you to join student council. Just come to the student council room when you can.
Anyways, we got dragged into student council and we got to sign our approval about it. Why the hell did she pick us? Holy shit, is that the 10 years in a joint guy from Yakuza?
I'm Chihiro.
I look forward to working with you.
Well, that was easy. And with just simply making a stupid Yakuza joke, we create a social link with Odagiri. After that, not much happens. The next day starts and Mitsuru sets up some dumb expedition rules and we do Kenji's social link. Coming back, Junpei hands us an online game called Innocent Sin, which totally isn't a Persona game that sounds like shit. So we started playing Innocent Sin and a player approaches us. This player will soon go by the name of Maya, and we will go by the name of Tatsuya. I've never heard of these names before, and I'm sure it's definitely not a reference to anything since Persona 3 technically is the first Persona game, so I don't know what this is. Boom, we formed a social link with Maya. It'd be funny if she was Miss Toryu.
Yo.
I said right foot creep, ooh, walking with that ear.
Oh.
I said right foot creep.
Mei starts off with Akihiko requesting Junpei to bring him something to the hospital. After that, Yukari roasts the shit out of my boy.
He only asked you because you don't have anything better to do after school.
With Yukari stating that she doesn't have archery practice after school, she tags along with Junpei to go see Akihiko, and I guess we go along with her as well.
Cool.
Is Sonata-san?
Huh? What are all of you doing here?
We came to see you, but you look like you're doing just fine.
That's because I'm just here for a checkup.
We done here, Aki?
Yeah, thanks.
I don't have time.
As of right now, we don't know who that guy is, nor what purpose he serves in the story. But for all we know is that he and Akihiko knows each other to the point where Akihiko refers to him as a friend, and that he knows victims that suffer from apathy syndrome. Now, I didn't touch much on this near the beginning of the video or when it was mentioned, but apathy syndrome is the effect of motivational loss. And the NPCs you see around Port Island, school, and in the city that are like mostly saturated out and standing there motionless are the effects of it. We don't know how it works, but we know it's happening around the city because of the Dark Hour and Tartarus. Until then, more will be talked about this later on.
I got you. I'm into games too.
Yeah, video games.
No, but like fighting games.
Whatever. Oh, totally.
Hi, how are you?
This is Tanaka's Amazing Commodities, an awesome home shopping show where you can buy shit at a high price. And you will not pass up any offer that this man has every Sunday. You will buy everything this man advertises. There will be no regret in your decision in what you bought. You will be satisfied no matter what. Glory to Tanaka's Amazing Commodities. Excellent, the package finally came. I will now be satisfied with my purchase.
Excuse me?
Well, it looks like we finally get to play as a Persona fan. For real, for real.
Bonjour! I found something important on the ground outside. Does this belong to you? Ah! Excuse me. Are you not the transfer student everyone is talking about? I am one as well. I am a student at Gekukan. I am here from France as an exchange student. My name is André Laurent Jean-Germain, but you can call me Bébé. I train in the home economics room every day. If you get bored, come join me. Well then, au revoir and sayonara.
Sorry, man, but I've got to pass this time.
Though I must say, the power of Persona seems to be much more diverse than I once thought. We even have someone who can switch personas in the midst of battle. There's something special about his ability. And it hasn't even been that long since his awakening.
Yeah, I was surprised too. But in the end, it's up to him whether or not he reaches his full potential.
It's a shadow.
What?
Where is it? I'll rip it a new one.
Akihiko, you stay here and wait for the chairman.
What? Are you kidding? I'm going.
Relax. I've got it covered.
Guess I don't have a choice. You're in charge. We're counting on you.
At this rate, he'll be stuck playing leader forever. I mean, not like I care.
Listen carefully. Tonight, I'll be providing support from here. Everything else is the same. The Shadow is currently located on a monorail not far from the station. To get there, you'll have to walk on the tracks.
Are you serious?
Electronic equipment is rendered inoperable during the dark hour, including trains.
But your bike?
This was specially made to handle it. Now, if circumstances change, I'll notify you immediately. All right, let's get started.
This operation begins with us starting on the monorail tracks. We are instructed to approach a shadow which is hiding inside the monorail.
I think I'm gonna hurry.
There should be a monorail about 200 meters ahead from where you are now. Get there as quickly as you can. We don't want any passengers to get hurt.
Baby, make up, you're almost time to wake up. They gave us just one left to leave.
As we speed ran our way across the monorail towards the train, Mitsuru gives us the order to proceed and enter the train with caution.
Well then, let's head on in. Don't you dare look up.
Yeah, I won't. But don't blame me if I happen to catch a glimpse.
Say, why don't we dig Junpei a nice grave?
A person, right? Like a passenger? They've been transmogged. Creepy.
Huh?
It must be the Shadow. It knows you're there. Be ready for anything. Stay on full alert.
Roger.
With us stuck in the train, we have to proceed further into the conductor's room to fight the huge shadow. The shadow, remember, being as huge as the one we saw in the cutscene where Makoto first summons his persona.
There it is! Hey! Get back here! We can beat that thing, no problem! Hell, I'll do it myself!
Junpei,
And now begins the encounter. With Junpei chasing after the shadow, it's just us and Yukari. The situation is still the same. Aim for weaknesses, pray for criticals, and play your cards right.
Junpei was acting kind of strange, wasn't he? Why'd he snap and get so upset? Well, I guess we can ask him once we've caught up to him. Let's go. Junpei!
I've got it under control!
Suddenly, the train starts moving across the monorail. Even though Mitsuru states that electronics do not work during the dark hours, shows that there may have been some influence that might have made it operate. Makoto's group is then instructed to proceed further into the train to defeat the shadow.
There it is! The hell is this? That's our target?
It has to be. There's nowhere else to go.
Take the other train. Hurry!
Hurry? What are we even supposed to do here?
We are now introduced to a proper boss fight. This is the Priestess Shadow, and if you are acquainted with the Arcanas, and more so with the Persona series, you know that priestesses are either reserved, shy, or intellectual women. You can take a look at Fuka, who is shy, Yukiko, who is smart, and Makoto from Persona 5, that is also smart. And which for the Shadow represents how smart she is to somehow activate this monorail, despite Mitsuru stating that electronics do not work. Now, the B and J on her breasts do not stand for a very famous character from the Wolfenstein series, but Boaz and Yain. These are two copper pillars that stood on Solomon's porch. And I don't know why the B and J is on their priestess card, so if there's anyone that knows about this, please let me know. I've searched for Google results and all I found was, what does the J and B mean, and other results not answering what I wanted. Maybe the B and J is just on the card. I don't know. Anyway, the gimmick for this boss is that there is a 30-minute timer in the reloaded version. Each time you bring her to a specific percentage of her health bar, she uses the move Invitation to Chaos, which speeds up the monorail even faster and quickly lowers the time until impact. And she will only do this 2 times, and you will have a significant less amount of time to defeat her.
It sped off the monorail? There's even less time until impact now. Hurry!
No! Oh, we gotta take it down soon! Take this!
Even though the shadow's been defeated, the monorail is still moving. Both Yukari and Junpei are fighting about this, and Makoto goes to stop the monorail before it collides with another train.
I don't know how to stop this thing! Dude, I'm like drenched in sweat.
With us stopping the train just in time, the crew take a minute to collect themselves and to celebrate over another victory. Junpei suggests that we get something to eat on the way back after all of this, and I cannot agree more with this man, because I would definitely eat something after surviving a near-death experience. With this, the crew together feels like their relationship with each other has strengthened, and this brings us to the rank 3 of the full social link.
But what was up with the shadows? They've never done something like hijacking a train before. This is getting out of hand.
I'll be looking into the matter. Do you have anything to drink, Sanada-kun?
Huh? Why do you look so tired, Ikutsuki-san? Wait. Don't tell me that bicycle outside is yours.
I apologize for asking you to come at such short notice.
From time to time, Elizabeth will offer you quests for you to accept and complete for rewards. These, as stated previously, requires grinding, fusing personas, simply just talking to your party, or defeating a specific enemy, or just doing a regular fetch quest. Although, remember, some of these fetch quests do require a specific social stat ranking to complete.
Come to think...
Going into Tartarus, the Priestess Tarot that we received from defeating the boss has been added to the Shuffle Time, and I realized that I have not talked about Shuffle Time at all. Shuffle Time sometimes appears after you defeat a shadow, and basically you get to choose your rewards. It could be increased XP gain, yen gain, persona cards, skill cards, etc. And these rewards scale over time. The special tarot cards like Fool, Priestess, and Magician have their own benefits. Priestess, as seen, increases all-out attack damage, Magician increases the value of the card rewards, and the Fool increases XP gain. All of these tarot cards that we receive will provide a huge benefit only for that specific run, because the moment you leave Tartarus, those benefits will cease and you have to find those tarot cards again when you return.
I bet this subject would make a good one.
The game introduces linked episodes. These are basically mini social links for the male characters, because back in the original Persona 3, none of the male cast have their own social links and you can only do the female casts. So this serves as a way to allow us to bond with our bros. Going forward a few days, we enter exam week. At the moment, Mitsuru and Akihiko will be sitting around the lounge table for today to study. And if you don't have anything planned, you can use the opportunity to study with them for more academic points, and hope you do well on the exam.
You're drenched in sweat, and that heavy breathing. Are you sure you're...
I'm fine. I've just been
Have you ever read the famous dystopian science fiction novel 1984? Oh, you haven't? That's a shame, but oh well! Beef, beef, beef!
All right, if you answer 5 more questions correctly, you can have your food.
Finishing up the exams, Akihiko mentions that he has discovered another Persona user that goes by the name of Fuka Yamakishi. And according to Yukari, there's been talk around the school about her getting sick very frequently. And because of her mental health, Akihiko decides against having her join C's because of it.
Ready for her too.
What? But I was gonna offer her some private lessons.
After every exam week, scores will be posted up for all of your classmates to see. If you somehow did very well on the exams, your classmate will look at you with respect and you gain academic points. So have that be another incentive to do well, because there totally isn't someone that requires a level 6 academic stat to start a social link with. Returning to the dorm, Yakutsuki brings us to the rooftops to tell us that he's set up a garden for us to use. Using the garden is optional, and like there's no downsides or anything like that if you don't use it, but it does have some good use, like great vegetable.
Well, that's everything. And now, it's time to raise the roof and elevate this garden to new heights. And to top it off, eat your veggies, peas.
Damn, bro, at least you weren't called a stupid fat. Holy shit, is that Tanaka? Oh my god, if you see this man at the mall, give him all of your money. I'm serious. You will not regret anything at all. Bro, Miss Toriumi, what the fuck? You know I'm a Persona fan? I can't even fucking exercise.
Wow, that's pathetic. Huh? Did you hear a voice? It's calling me. Please, can we get a picture with you?
Your life is man, this is a tough case. Even for Junpei Iori, ace detective.
Ace detective? You're so dumb. More like faggot.
Am I on the ground?
You suck. June opens up with the crew discussing about a classmate who was found in front of the school gate last week, with the rumors circling around that an angry spirit being the cause. Akihiko then asks Junpei to tell more about the rumor, and with this, we then enter Junpei's Believe It or Don't.
Good evening, and welcome to Junpei's Believe It or Don't. There are many strange things in this world. Legend has it, late at night, after everyone has gone home, a maniacal ghost roams the halls and devours anyone caught in its grasp. The other day, this friend of mine, let's call him Witness A. Anyway, he said to me, "Hey, Iori, I saw something weird the other day." He sounded so serious, so I asked him what he'd seen. He told me he saw the girl from 2E and claims he watched her go into the school on the night before the incident. I told him I don't believe it, not even for a second. That girl from 2E ain't the type to go wandering around at night. But Witness A was as white as a sheet. He swore to me it was true. Then, it hit me. If the girl was found unconscious at school, then maybe the ghost really did make her its dinner. It all made sense. She went to the school at night and walked right into its deadly trap. I felt a chill run down my spine, and I broke into a cold sweat. Yes, there truly are some strange things in this world. Believe it or don't.
The premise of what was that ghost story has captured the interest of the crew. Akihiko thinks the ghost story should be taken a look into, and Yukari the next day tells us that we should ask around the school for clues, since Friday is where they'll be discussing their findings. Bro, I'm not finding any clues around here, man. What the fuck? Oh, what the hell? What? Man, what the fuck? Alright.
Turns out there was no angry ghost involved.
Huh.
Correct.
What did all three victims have in common?
Yep, there's one place where all three victims were regulars.
Whoa, hang on. You're not talking about that spot behind Port Island Station, are you?
Oh, you know about it?
Dude, you can't go there.
You must have taken a wrong turn. 'Cause this place ain't for you, buddy.
Yukari then calls these guys a really rude and mean word, and it leads to Junpei getting punched in the foot.
That's enough. I'll make sure they leave. You good with that?
Who do you think you are, dumbass?
Then, the guy from the other day has his name revealed. Shinjiro Aragaki. From the punk, we know that Shinjiro goes to Gekukan High School, or went to Gekukan High School. But why is he in this area? But before more can be unveiled, that's all we know of him for now.
You idiots. Go home.
Shinjiro gives more details about the ghost story. Those girls who were found near the front gate were presumed to be haunted by Fuka's ghost, and these girls would bully and torment Fuka and enjoy bragging about it around this area of the port island. And this kind of leaves a huge question. Is this Fuka girl actually dead? We heard that she was in hospital not so long ago when Akihiko went, and now she's just presumed dead? Something about this seems off, but that's all Shinjiro knows, and we're sent back to the dorm with at least more adequate information.
Turns out, the more money people spend, the better they feel. Now then, that's it for today's lesson. You can pay me back when you make your first million.
On the 8th, we see Mitsuru asking Natsuki about Fuka's disappearance. And here, Natsuki tells us everything about what happened.
It was May 29th. We took Fuka to the gym and locked the door from the outside. That night, Maki got worried Fuka might commit suicide, so she went back to the school by herself, but she never came back. And the next morning,
she was found lying outside the front gate.
Turning over to Mr. Yokota, we find out that he knew about Fuka's disappearance. He didn't tell the police about one of his students going missing, and he only kept it a secret for the sake of Natsuki not having this incident on her school record. What a fucking shithead, dude. With the information gathered, Mitsuru confirms that we're going to save Fuka. However, given that Fuka's been missing since the 29th and is stuck within Tartarus, there's no way that she's alive. Until Akihiko proposes a theory.
But I think time flows differently in Tartarus. So even though it's been 10 days for us, it could have only been 10 hours for her. There's a chance she's still alive.
With at least some hope, the mission is finally set. I know Akihiko says a couple of things when the group has a negative connotation about the situation, and about Fuka's chance of survival, but I'll try to cover it when the time comes. But for now, the crew will sneak into Gekukan High School and wait until the dark hour starts.
See? We got in no problem. Man, I'm a genius.
Is there really something to brag about here?
So you unlocked it earlier. Très bien.
Trey Ben? Is that French or something?
Nah, bro, it's probably Romanian. Wait, what the fuck? Bro, what are you taking Junpei?
Can we turn on the lights?
Aw, you scared?
No, I'm not.
Stupid faggot!
Hey, that's uncalled for!
It was just a security guard. It's so dark, I can barely read these. What does it say on this one?
I'm gonna be a dick and tell her it leads to the morgue. Here we go. Fuck! With everyone regrouped in the main lobby of the school and the dark hour nearly beginning, Mitsuru requests that only 3 can enter Tartarus and only 1 can stay outside with her. Originally, the group was supposed to consist of Makoto, Akihiko, and Yukari, but Junpei wants to redeem himself for the screw-up during the monorail incident. And this makes Akihiko take Junpei in, taking over Yukari's position.
Alright, Junpei, we'll give you another shot. And with that, the teams are set.
That's right.
And remember when Natsuki said that when the girls went after one another to go check on Fuka, and then they all mysteriously fainted? This is what's happening here. We wake up separated from the group, and we meet Pharos out where we usually see him.
Are you awake? This is the first time we've spoken outside of your room, but we don't have much time to talk. Tonight, there is more than one ordeal you must face. You should hurry. She's waiting for you. You guys will need her. See you. I hope we meet again.
Mitsuru tries to contact us as we try to regroup with Junpei and Akihiko. And along with Mitsuru trying to call out to us, we hear someone's voice.
Please, answer me!
Eventually, as we traverse through the floors, we finally regroup with Akihiko and Junpei.
I don't think we should enter Tartarus this way again.
Oh yeah! Did you hear a voice on your way here? Yeah, kinda like...
Who's there? Are you... human?
This is Fuka Yamagishi. the girl that Natsuki and her friends trapped inside the gym. And luckily, from the looks of it, she's alive. According to her, she's been avoiding the shadows ever since she got trapped in here, because she can somehow tell where they are. Akihiko then realizes that Fuka's persona is better than Mitsuru in terms of navigation, as Mitsuru's was built for combat. With this in mind, Akihiko gives her the evoker, and they try to escort her back all the way to the main entrance.
Whoa, check out the moon. It's huge.
On the way back, Junpei makes an observation about the full moon. We had a full moon on May during the monorail incident, and Akihiko then asks us when we first encountered the shadows on the rooftops if it was on a full moon, and it was. With the idea that most of those encounters we've had with those shadows back in April and May were on full moons, meant that today, a shadow would appear.
We're all on a full moon.
And it looks like their suspicions were right. As Akihiko tries to draw attention away from Yukari and Mitsuru, Junpei notices Natsuki and Tartarus, which leads to Fuka running over to her.
Hey! Look out!
I have to protect her. Persona.
A persona?
I can see. I can see these monsters' weaknesses.
Can it be?
Just as I thought. Mitsuru, let her take her place. We'll handle these guys.
For this full moon, we're up against two shadows, the Empress and the Emperor. Now, these two represent the reverse arcana, and to put simply, when you think of an Empress or an Emperor, you think of someone with strong will, authority, and a wise figure with the fulfillment of life. With the reversal, just take everything positive I just said about them and then just turn them into negatives. Because when you take a look at how these shadows are on how they represent themselves and dress, you'll see why they are reversed. With Fuka by our side and Mitsuru stating that nothing works, Fuka mentions that she can soon scan the enemy's weakness, which is basically after a full turn of all party members, since these shadows seem to block our attacks. Afterwards, once you have her scan these shadows' affinities, it should be okay. However, every now and then, these shadows would use Paradigm Shift, which basically changes their immunities and weaknesses to different ailments, and you would need to have Fuka scan them again.
I'll introduce him!
What are we gonna do about Moriyama-san? She knows about the Dark Hour and the shadows.
It doesn't matter. She's not like us, so she won't remember anything that happens in the dark hour. The good news is she didn't fall victim to the shadows despite hearing their call. So I don't think she'll get drawn in again. She's safe now.
The next day, Mitsuru talks to us and she tells us that Fuka and Natsuki are fine, and they will be out of the hospital soon. After Fuka leaves, however, Mitsuru has an idea of having someone like her assist us with the Dark Hour, and especially with Tartarus. In the command room, Mitsuru thanks Fuka for her assistance and tells her about personas. To then, Mitsuru asks Fuka if she would like to join. And to that, Fuka accepts. And along with that, when Yukari tells Fuka that she has to move into the dorms, she says,
That's fine. I'd rather live here than at home anyway.
Which kind of makes us wonder what her life at home really is. With everyone knowing now that those type of shadows appears once every full moon, they're ready to take them head on whenever it happens.
You've prevailed yet again.
Alright, just for now, we're not going to bully this kid through the power of editing. Pharaohs asks us if we could be his friend. And to whatever option you choose, you become friends with Pharaohs and establish a social link with him. And this social link's arcana is death. As the video goes on, you'll start to understand why Pharaohs' arcana is associated with death. But for now, we'll leave it here.
But I brought something special today. Well, let me just show you before I get into explaining what it is. I'd like to provide you.
Along with the introduction of our new gear, Ikutsuki mentions theurgy. And in terms of gameplay, this is a special attack that you can perform, and it is definitely a huge game changer, as Akutsuki mentions. We'll see more about that once we go into Tartarus. After everyone is caught up with the new clothes, weapons that Akutsuki showed us, we go into Tartarus with our newly acquired drip.
Oh man, this is awesome! We're like a super elite task force!
Come on.
With everyone getting used to their newly acquired drip, Fuka reads out what she read from the manual that provided the information on the shoulder guards they're all wearing. And basically the shoulder guard provides vital signals and the notification of when thingie could be used. For testing, Mitsuru and Akihiko will join us in our party since Fuka is now replacing Mitsuru's role as the navigator. And we'll leave Junpei behind to help out Fuka.
Wait, I wanna go too! I was so ready for this! You can't just put me on standby! Oh, really?
Don't be afraid to smack him if he tries anything funny.
Okay, got it.
Huh?
Hang on. I'm sensing something on the floor above us. Something strange.
As we were trying out the new gear and head up the next flight of stairs after defeating the shadows, Tartarus separates the group into different locations on this floor. We eventually regroup with Yukari, and this is where thingie gets introduced.
I'll hold this thing off until everyone else gets here.
This is thingie, which is a powerful game changer. Basically in battle, there are these meters that are laid in front of the sprites of the party members, and whenever that meter is filled, thingie can be performed. And they are powerful akin to both single and multi-targeting damage, and just providing pure buffs for the party.
Over here!
After Yukari dies, everyone has a grasp on how thingie works thanks to her. So mind you that thingie runs on emotions, and although party members gain a charge of thingie per turn, each of them have a specific condition that allows them to gain an extra charge to fuel their thingie. So try to take advantage of that.
I've left the place untouched as you requested. I've been trying to reach him on his cell phone. It was careless of me to... However, if harm has fallen upon him as head of C's...
What the hell? Kurosawa?
How about it, Iori? Was this room really vandalized?
This is how my room always looks?
Back at the suspicious area of the port island, we're met with a new set of characters. Jin, Takaya, and Chidori. These guys are pretty much the good guys like Cease and will definitely not kill this random teenager.
Stay away! Get away from me!
You squeal most magnificently. Such raw emotion.
Also, if this is the actual area of the port island that's shown, where you're allowed to go to, either this teenager was running at 0.1 kilometers per hour, or Takai just shot another random dude that was just chilling around the area. Because there's no way he actually killed the guy when the guy had tons of time to make a corner during a shitty speech.
He's not dead.
Doesn't matter.
We've got 4 new members this year.
Shit.
The day after, Akihiko joins Shinji at a ramen hangout spot and starts off a conversation with him. We learn that Shinji used to be a part of Cease, and Akihiko does his best to tell him to rejoin. From this conversation, we learn that both Shinji and Akihiko have faced events that have severely impacted their lives. And before the conversation could go any further, Shinji leaves.
Hey, Shinji!
I am calling to inform you that more humans...
It's kinda dry. Okay, very dry. I can barely chew through it.
Paramedic, I just had some of Yukari's cooking and it tastes like shit.
The next full moon will be in 1 week. Are you prepared? Be careful, okay?
Fuck you!
Shoot you in the head like the black guy from the Matrix. That's a facelift with some gay chicks. Just face it, I'm a based kid, I'm awesome. Tyler McVicker playing dead like a possum.
Where the hell am I? Where's my Monica pillow?
Hey, what's up, Andrew? Glad to see you joining us today.
What the? John, why am I here?
Oh, I kind of need you to do a quick favor for me. I kind of need you to read off this entire, July segment for Persona 3 Reload.
So let me get this straight. You kidnapped me in my sleep, put me in a van, and drive me all the way to your studio just to read this script for you.
Yeah?
July began with us making Hot Pot with Akihiko. These hangout events that the game introduced allowed the opportunity for us to create combat characteristics. As we see with Akihiko, self buffs are increased efficiency, which adds to the passive buff that are immediately activated once in combat. All other party members have their own unique combat characteristics, and they will be discovered if you keep hanging out with them. So make sure you max out the events as much as possible throughout the game. You never know what kind of powerful characteristics your other party members will have. On the next day, we overheard two students talk to each other, and one of them mentioned one of their boyfriends taking them to Shirakawa Boulevard. Surely it won't happen to be the next location where the next full moon operation will take place, right? Having Fuka scan the area for the huge shadow back at the dorm, the team finds the shadow at the location and begins the operation.
It's located in Iwatodai, inside a building on Shirakawa Boulevard. I'm not familiar with that area.
What is wrong with you?
Also, I'd like to ask, what the heck is a dark hour?
Oh yeah, so basically it's sort of when the shadows come out at like a certain time of the day and, just kill people.
Wait. You're telling me at a certain time of the day, shadows come out of nowhere into the real world and kills people? We don't jump into TV or get transported to a different world through an app on our phone?
Well, while there's more info about the dark hour, yeah, that's basically just it.
Wow, that is just terrifying to think about. At least it cannot get any worse.
Oh yeah, you get turned into a coffin if you're not a Persona user during the dark hour.
Champs de floors? How do you say that?
It's
nanomachine, son.
We enter the building and head to the third floor. The shadow for this small operation is the reverse Hierophant. Now, the Hierophant is usually associated with someone who counsels others with morality and guides them, like taking some wisdom, teaching, and offering help. Of course, the reverse Hierophant is basically someone that abuses that wisdom and teaching they have and uses it to manipulate others. It's their villain origin here, folks. We've seen the concept art of the shadow and comparing it to the actual tarot card, the two followers there are shown to be crucified instead of, uncrucified on the original tarot card. Anyway, this boss fight joins a new gimmick to the combat system, with the boss having a move called Doomsday Dark Turn. This move inflicts fear into your party, which is, if not treated, the person with fear will run away from the battle. With that in mind, the boss should be really easy to defeat, and once defeated, the team should be able to head out of the building to see Furuka and complete the move operation. Psych! Which I would be saying if the door wasn't freaking locked. Furuka mentions she sensed another shadow boss hiding somewhere around the area, so in order to escape the building and complete the operation, we're gonna have to find this second shadow boss. Luckily, we don't have to really go that far since the shadow boss is somewhere hidden around the same area we defeated the first boss in. So, while they're looking around, we did find a mirror around the area. Hold on! Pause!
What's up?
What do you mean what? What is this crap?
Don't worry, dude. It's just Yukari taking a shot.
Yeah, I can see that. So why is this happening in the first place?
It's probably something that has to do with the phobia or something.
Oh yeah, all I see is a random fan service.
Says the guy with the Monica Pello and head over heels with both Kasumi and Yukiko from Persona 4 and 5.
Hey, I have you know, 1, Monica illegal, and 2, Kasumi and Yukio are the best girls in the Persona series, alright?
Whatever, just get back to the script, Andrew.
We are greeted with the Dementia minigame. Yes, the Dementia minigame. I don't know why they even added this. Alright, for newcomers, this minigame might be a bit confusing as it seems to be no matter what choice you pick, everything, including the dialogue, will reset. Basically, you're gonna have to choose the right dialogue to progress through the story. And to do that, you have to click on these dialogue choices, which is, that is not true, I can't give in, and I'll pass. With that, we were able to continue on with the operation.
And how about we don't mention this to anyone? Got it?
Where are your friends?
After regrouping with everyone else, Fuka detects both room 204 and room 205 mirrors being weird. She's telling us that we had to break the right mirrors in order to fight the second shadow, which was in the previous room with the first one. And given how humans turn to coffins, which is still weird to me, we can see 2 coffins right next to each other in the same bed. I wonder what kind of kinky stuff they were doing in this certain hotel. Wink wink. We then find the right mirror by taking note of our reflection and not casting it. When we break it, we are finally initiating the combat against the second shadow boss. Thank God. Now this shadow boss considered the reverse Lover's Arcana. Normally, the Lover's Arcana represent a strong intimate bond between 2 people. The reverse Lover's Arcana, however, represent a forced pairing. For example, despite not having started any social way with Yukari, we are paired back when we were in the room. Now this boss fight should be the same as the other boss fight, but instead of inflicting fear, this shadow inflicts charm. Now charm would sometimes make your own party member attack you or each other, or would sometimes heal the enemy themselves. It's not worse than fear, but if not treated, that boss got key on healing, so better to quickly cleanse it while you can. And with that, we easily defeated the boss and finally complete the move operation. As we head outside, Akihiko and Mizuru compliment us on being enrolled as the leader. And well, unfortunately Junpei is a bit jelly of us and tells Yukari to shut up. And why? Well, she's a woman. Yeah, I don't know. Junpei, that's messed up, man. What the hell?
That was faster than I expected. Well, Jin, are they our enemy?
Wait a second. Is that freaking Jesus?
No, that's not really Jesus.
No. That man definitely looked like Jesus.
I get it, but dude, that's not him. He's someone else that is very important to the story.
Come on, this is insane. First, we said like finding a serial killer or a politician. We're facing literally Christ himself. What next? Are we're going against some kind of world public leader or something?
Well, I mean, in Persona 2, the protagonist kind of faces off against Hitler himself.
No, shut up. No, that's not real.
No, yep. Yeah, here's a picture, like, right now.
I'm losing my goddamn mind. After the operation, summer break starts and we had to deal with finals. On the next day, we are introduced with the auction bee as Elizabeth out. These serve as a request mission that Elizabeth has, but mainly serves more of the time to spend with everyone's favorite Velvet attendant, which, this may be biased, but I like her sister Margaret better.
Okay, but Elizabeth canonically wears Nikes and got a confirmation by Naz Reid that she can 100% ball.
I state what I said. Back at the command room, Mizuru gives out a report to Izuki about the recent full moon operation. As she finished, Yukari butts in with information about Kirijo, group's president, with the incident that occurs around the school location 10 years ago.
What really happened on the day of that accident? The Kirijo group built our school, so you have to know something. Tell me the truth.
14 years ago, one man pursued that very line of thinking. He was the former leader of the Kirijo group, Koetsu Kirijo, my grandfather. My grandfather was obsessed with the shadows. He wanted to harness their power to create something extraordinary. But 10 years ago, during the final stages of the project, there was an accident, and the experiment failed. They lost control of the Shadow's power, altering the nature of the entire world.
You can't mean...
Yes, Tartarus and the Dark Hour. So yes, as you guessed, the experiment 10 years ago was conducted at Gekkoukan High School.
As the Missouri explained everything that happened 10 years ago, Yukari gets pissed at the fact she's been used to defeat those Shadow, and Yukushi skips in. He mentions that the troll Shadow that appeared in the cost why this is happening. And if we defeat them, all things will happen now will end. The Dark Hour will disappear.
Exactly.
No matter what happens in the next 10 years, I hope you're happy. And I hope this letter brings a smile to both you and your mother's faces. Eiichiro Takeba, March 6th, 2000.
No matter what happens, huh?
It's good to see you again.
As we come back, Fuka asks the group if anyone have any plan for the summer vacation. Junpei said he want to go to the beach to see babes in bikinis. Understandable and pretty base, my guy. Yukushi steps in and tells Missouri that her father will be at his vacation home in Yakushima, and that the group should use the opportunity to go visit Yakushima and relax. Since summer break is arriving and the next full moon operation doesn't begin until next month.
Oh, I need to go buy a swimsuit.
Hey, don't worry. I got one you can borrow.
Nice try. An arithmetic sequence, huh? Do you remember the formula for calculating its sum? See, if you do this...
A beautiful formula. Really arithmeticals, my fancy. Yeah, that one's pretty good. Let me write that down.
Sounds good. Where we going? If you need to buy a swimsuit, I'd be happy to help.
Very funny.
With the group being excited for the trip to Yakushima, Junpei then let her know that he felt sorry for being there for, let's see here. 11 days, or something like that. As everyone steps outside where they head out, Fuka heads out with Natsuki, and we meet Itsuki with some random kid. This kid name is Ken, and he doesn't have any foreign relation with Akihiko, and no one else that used to be in this group definitely did not kill his mother. And don't look at me, alright? I got kidnapped. I'm just reading off what the script said. Also, the antique shop that was closed in the first couple of months of the game has not been opened up. You can trade items in exchange for very good items, ranging from skill card, incenses, infinity gems, weapons, armor, etc. You'll find tons of good items there that you'll be able to trade for.
Whoa! Looks like we're finally coming up on the island! Hell yeah! Yeah! Ku! She! Ma!
Jeez, you sound like a little kid.
Aw, he's just having fun. Personally, I'm ready for some training.
I do wonder, what kind of flora and fauna live there?
Yakushima then brings us into Missouri vacation home. Here we meet Big Boss. Missouri's dad. Afterwards, the group heads to the beach, and Akihiko is wearing some very questionable clothing. Look at that. Look like Akihiko packing some heat. Look like Kanji might have some competition after all.
Mine's nothing special. Crotcherry's thin and built for speed, so...
Afterwards, Yukari shows up, and with us being the beach, it's...
Anime Beach episode time! What are you looking at?
After the cutscene, not much can be said here. We're just chilling out with the gang and chatting with them. And Junpei, well, he's sending me assholes to the girls. Like, damn man, keep that out, you'll be labeled as an anti-feminist. If you accept the beach request from Elizabeth, there are 4 highlight areas where you can grab objects that will help Elizabeth feel the ocean. I don't... You want more power to her. Back at the vacation shop, we have a meeting with Mr. Father, and he gave us the full story of what happened back then. and definitely the whole full version of it.
I can only hope that this recording reaches someone with a conscience.
Wait a sec.
My employer has become obsessed with a loathsome idea. This experiment should never have been conceived. I'm afraid the damage will be staggering. At this point, it's unavoidable. But I didn't have a choice. If I didn't do this, it could have destroyed the entire world.
Destroyed the entire world?
Whoever is watching this, please, I need you to listen to me very carefully. The shadows that were amassed here have been dispersed as a result of the explosion. In order to end this, you have no choice but to eliminate all of them. I am the one responsible for this. I knew the risks, but I was blinded by the promise of success, and so I chose to continue without objections. I am responsible.
Huh? Dad?
You mean that was...
After the cutscene, we found out that Yukari's father worked at one of the scientists that were working on the project. With the discovery like this, Yukari runs away and Missouri tries to talk to her.
Talk about I don't want your pity! Talk about...
Shouldn't someone go after her?
Will you go? Thank you.
We catch up with Yukari at the beach and we had a moment with her, and she tells us how she feels about the situation.
When I found out I had a special power, I thought it was fate. I was scared, but I thought if I cooperated with the Kirijo group, I might find out what really happened. That's why I agreed to fight using my persona. But now I can see it was all for nothing. I can barely make sense of all of this. I'm so afraid. I just feel so lost now. Just tell me, what am I supposed to do now? Sorry for acting like this. I know you've lost your parents too. I'll be alright. I'm used to dealing with stressful situations. Anyway, thanks for listening. This is kinda awkward, huh?
Hey! Yeesh, what's taking you guys so long? Everybody was getting worried. It's almost the dark hour, so we gotta head back.
It feels like somebody wants to sell me something!
The day after the events, Yukari, Missouri, and Fuka go on a walk around the woods, and Izuki gives Missouri a call about the anti-shadow weapon being released around the area. With Yukari trying to warn the guys about the danger, we receive no callback. Meanwhile, with the guy, Junpei initiates Operation Babe Hunt. I guess you all know what that means. And we are now appointed a leader by Kiko.
Then I'm appointing him our leader, as usual.
How can you blame us for wanting to talk to such beauties?
These guys are foolish. Haven't you heard? It's lame to hit on girls at the beach nowadays.
And you haven't been pulling your weight either.
Could I ask you to help me put on my sunscreen?
Doesn't she sound kind of strange?
What the hell? Why you always gotta be so logical? Even in front of babes, it doesn't make any sense.
What did you just say?
Oh, traitor. Anyways, what the hell do you know about...
What? Do you see something?
Oh boy. After many failures, Junpei then noticed a girl standing in the pier. The guy decided to do a game of rock, paper, scissors to see who gets to go up to her first. Junpei wins, and when he goes up, he got rejected.
You are not that someone.
Wow, you got shot down faster than I expected.
Akiko goes next, and rejected.
That information is irrelevant to me.
If you can't pull this off, I'm gonna be traumatized for the rest of my life.
Surely we won't get rejected that badly, right?
You.
I couldn't hear what he said, but she looked surprised. We should go over there.
Initiating evasive maneuver. Confirmation must be made at a secure location.
I was so wrong. Minato runs away from us. This is worse than rejection.
Come on, go after her. Get on your knees, beg for forgiveness, and introduce her to me. Please?
I was correct. I have found you. I have been searching for you. My highest priority is to be at your side.
We are not finding the girl, and she tells us her priority is to be by our side, and then she begins to hug us. Hey, yo, she kinda cute looking.
Alright, dude. Keep your pants on for about girl. Plus, how would you... I don't even know how you would even tap that.
Hey, listen. If 2B is smashable, so can this girl. And I can definitely modify her.
Dude, you really need some help.
I am Aegis. My objective is to exterminate shadows. I have been assigned to seize, effective immediately.
10 years ago, a plan was enacted to create anti-shadow weapons. A contingency in the event a shadow became unmanageable. Aegis was the last one to be made. And she's the only one that still remains today. She suffered major damage in combat her first year out, and she's been kept in the lab ever since. I'm still not sure as to why she suddenly reactivated herself this morning. In any case, I hope you'll all get along.
On the last day of the beach, the crew spent time with each other with Aegis, who starts shooting water at Junpei. And as soon as Junpei get down, we didn't beat the shit out of him.
Junpei-kun is down!
Alright, here's our chance for an all-out attack.
Wait, time out! Let's use the canteen! Yeah!
Jin, give him the capsules.
Thanks. I'll pay you the usual way.
Now hold up. This time, we'd like your payment in the form of information.
I don't know the details, but supposedly, destroying all those creatures will put an end to the Dark Hour. And that weird-ass tower will disappear. That's all I know, alright?
You mean they intend to eliminate the Dark Hour completely? Why?
You have successfully awakened. Mission complete. 5 minutes early is on time. That is the phrase posted on the wall, so I woke you 5 minutes before your alarm clock engages.
As we got back to school, we are now thrown into a training regimen from the 27th to the 1st of August for a competition that starts on the 2nd. And holy crap, this was nothing but a waste of time and filler instead of leveling up social links or doing any other stuff.
It seems what you told us of their intentions is true. How terribly lamentable. Now we have no choice but to intervene. It is up to the individual how to use the strength they are granted. But to erase the Dark Hour would be denying the very power they possess. And that is the one thing we cannot permit.
Oh yeah, right, and Ken is here, or whatever. However, on the 28th, we are open to another event that Fuka detects a presence of the shadow, and then wakes us and everyone up. As the scene changed to everyone in the command room, we hear Akihiko went to deal with the shadows and he was nearby. He then tells us that the shadow will deal with thanks to this little fella. Now this little fella is known as Kumaru, and he was the one who took the hit. Yukari and Fuka go to tend Kumaru, and we learn that Igus had the ability to learn Kumaru bark.
Dog's a Persona user?
He says, this is a place of peace, so I protected it.
Okay, hold on. Igus, don't tell me you can translate dog language too.
Canines do not have their own language. However, speech is not the only means of communication.
I mean, I guess that's useful? Why do you even have that feature? Anyhow, let's hope that Kumaru is healthy again. And hopefully this little fella joins the team soon.
Conclude this mission. As for a vet, it's midnight, but I think I can arrange something.
Good job, boy. You're one amazing dog.
Alright, is that everything?
Let me check. Yep, looks like that's everything.
Thank God, finally. If you need me, I'll be in your break room eating all your food.
What are you talking about? I don't have a break room.
I'm hungry, alright? You let me starving as I was sleeping, alright? I'm hungry as a bitch. I'm gonna find myself some food. Later.
Special thanks to Supersonic for recording July. Welcome back everyone to August. Nothing much happened on the first, so we skipped all the way to the second. So today is the track and field tournament, and we're hoping to win against that Hayase guy.
Since this is your first time, let me give you some advice. All you have to do is give it your all. Remember,
they played us like a damn fiddle!
We ended up not winning because we suck, and this entire track team as well. Hayase then approaches us and says, blah blah, engravings gives you no tactical advantage whatsoever, and that we can start a social link near the strip mall after school.
If you see him again, tell him this.
Damn fiddle!
I am calling to inform you that more
With Igus now in our party, we can have her join and see what she's all about. She comes equipped with her Orgia mode, which is now her theurgy. And I say now because in the original Persona 3, Orgia mode used to be another tactic option specifically only for Igus and someone else, who I can't say yet, to be set to. We got 2 new tarot cards added to the mix, and they're the Hierophant, which offers having your equipped Persona immediately leveled up by 1 level, and the Lovers, which allows you to gain extra social link bonuses for Persona fusions. Afterwards, Elizabeth then tells us about these weird doors appearing in Tartarus, and these doors are called the Monad Passages. Basically, the Monad Passages offers a challenging shadow fight that awards the player with treasure chests as extra loot and a lot of goodies that you can find there. So make sure to take advantage of these Monad Passages. Nothing much happened, we just committed a mass genocide against the shadows.
Oh hey, looks like you're the only guy on the team tonight.
I see. So this is what you would call a harem, correct? According to my data, every single man in the world fantasizes of having one.
Wait, is that what you're angling for?
Well, ulterior motives aside, I've no problems. After all, this team is strategically sound.
So this is where we can get a good glimpse at the Monad Passages. You can tell because this door looks very weird and out of place, and it glows red. That's pretty much just it. The Monad Passages can only be opened if you have one of the major tarot cards with you, like for example, the Emperor card itself, the Hierophant, the Fool, etc. Basically, if you have one of these cards, the Monad Passage will be waiting for you to interact with it. All I can say is that the enemies here may be a bit challenging, but they're pretty easy to put down, so don't sweat it. On the 6th begins the next full moon operation. Fuka detects the presence of a shadow nearby the abandoned houses in the northern parts of Iwotodai. However, where it's actually located is underground. Igus gives insight on the location with the data implanted inside her memory by Ikutsuki, and that area used to be a hidden underground facility used by the military. The crew makes it to the underground facility, and they are met with a surprise. The group meets Strega, who's a bunch of losers. All they do is complain about the disappearance of the Dark Hour and try to convince us if what we're doing is worth it, because, well, no more Dark Hour, no more Personas, and to that we say, fuck you.
Have fun in there.
After the confrontation, the shadow is making its move, and we are ordered to pursue the target. As we catch up with the target, we are faced with both the reverse chariot and justice. So given that now this video is no more a school project, I'll just give like a quick insight and then we'll go from there. So, the Chariot Arcana, which in this case is the tank, represents control, success, and willpower, while the inverse represents one facing challenges and obstacles that are preventing them from reaching their goal. So basically, this reverse Chariot relies on the reverse Justice to do the work, and in this case, the Justice Arcana represents, well, justice, truth, logic, and law. And the reverse is obviously dishonesty, a corrupted reason, and the lack of accountability. Now, this boss fight is pretty different. The boss starts off as one enemy, however, if a threshold or an excess amount of damage is dealt to the boss, they split apart. And there, it may be easy to deal with, since their health is thankfully halved. However, it's best to try and take care of both of the bosses at the same time, because if you defeat one of them, the other will cast Semi-Recarm, and if you just stumble on this video and have no idea what the hell that is, here you go. Anyway, this boss was hella easy, and we used the funny theurgy with Siegfried and Mithra. After the boss fight, Mitsuru gives a report to Akutsuki about Strega and leads to Akutsuki's surprise, as apparently there are more Persona users. Anyway, Akutsuki says he'll look into Strega, and will find a way to get Mitsuru and everyone out since, well, they fell for Strega's trap and they're stuck. Remember Pharaoh's quote here.
Flowers of poison will bloom, 3 in the rival garden, and 1 in your own. I don't know if this has anything to do with the end, but you should be careful.
On the 8th, Mitsuru informs us about something important, and that it'd be best if we see what is important ourselves. And that something important is Koromaru. So Best Boy joined our team with permission of the chairman and is ready to kick some ass. His collar is equipped with a quote-unquote evoker, so he can summon his persona whenever. With the good news set aside, Mitsuru mentioned something about summer classes and that we're going to be taking them. Why? A few days into our summer classes, we stop to get a checkup on our health, and we decide to head back after Akutsuki gets a phone call.
Oops, excuse me for a second.
As we return from the hospital, Fuka talks to us and we are told that there's a shadow by the Moonlight Bridge, until she detects another reading beside it, a person. We tell her to get everyone to the bridge and we rush over to help that person. And that person ends up being Takaya. We join him in defeating the shadow, and pretty much whatever move you use, Takaya will comment on your playstyle. Takaya lands a critical hit on the shadow and shows us what this persona is capable of.
Let me show you my power. Come, persona! Here is an offering of sorrows.
After defeating the shadow, an evoker with a red glow lies where it was. Takaya goes over and picks it up and then pockets it. I'm sure this means nothing. Takaya then comments on our ability to swap personas and then asks us for our name. Despite our differences, he tells us that he will repay us for our help later. Mitsuru then pulls up and the night ends there.
Are you alright?
The summer festival begins on the 16th, and I made a mistake with taking Yukari with us, instead of hearing what Aigus has to say when you go with Mitsuru, but it's whatever. We head out with Yukari, and we enjoy the summer festival with her company. For the Junpei episode, we hang out with him and he bought a huge-ass watermelon. On the rooftops, we are accompanied by both Ken and Koromaru, and with a watermelon on top of a cloth next to a baseball bat. And this baseball bat belonged to Junpei when he used to play baseball as a kid. Koromaru then stands next to the watermelon and prompts Ken to say that we should use something other than the bat. And if you played Arena Ultimax, then you know how important the bat will be to Junpei later on.
Whoa, a white guy! Hey, try not to go all out or there won't be any left to eat.
What? Huh? The fuck was that? On the 20th, Junpei is wandering around the port island and comes across a girl in a red dress who is sketching inside her notebook. And if you remember, she's with Strega. Later on today, Aigus tells us that Koromaru is getting impatient without a daily walk due to Akihiko being late. We take over his shift and go on a walk with Koromaru. As we approach the shrine, we meet up with Takaya again, and he gives us a chance to ask him a question along with a response and return from the other day. And we choose to ask him a very important question.
My coat is invisible to fools. But of course I'm joking. In this country, almost 5,000 people die in car accidents every year. And yet, there is no outcry against the existence of cars. Why do you suppose that is? Does it really make sense for you to reject this gift? That was all I had to say. Tonight is a new moon. You have ample time to reconsider before the moon waxes full again. With that, my debt to you is paid.
From this piece of paper Takai hands to us, it reveals about a new gear that is either summoning and the need to make safety cartridges before handing them to MK, and the initials MK may be referring to Mitsuru Kirijo. However, test subjects? Who may that be referring to, and how did Takai get this piece of paper? A conversation begins with Akihiko and Shinji. Akihiko mentions about Koromaru's ability as an animal to use a persona, which surprises Shinji. Then Ken comes out of nowhere and hides behind the sign to overhear the conversation between the both of them. And something about an event is about to turn 2 years following in October. Ken obviously overhears this and is slowly piecing together what happened and what they're talking about. While this fucking guy in the background stares at this shelf with food on it.
I'll be preparing your dinner today, Koromaru-san. I hope you look forward to it.
Fuck! When I'm all grown up, can we get married?
Before the last couple of days before school, you can use the opportunity to take a couple of members out to the theater to watch some movies. And this is just to hang out with them and earn social stats. I like this stuff in video games where they allow you to do stuff like this. Like, you know, this one where you get to learn like what type of movies the cast is into. It builds your character and you get to learn like what type of stuff they're really interested in.
I just thought it's pretty awesome to have something you're passionate about.
It's nothing like that.
Shit. Looks like Ken's joining us. Welcome to September, if anyone is still around. Anyways, Aigis is joining us at school. As we return to Tartarus, Ken and Koromaru will be joining us within our adventure into Tartarus, and along with that, we gain 2 new tarot cards. That is the Chariot card, which increases your max health by 10, and the Justice Arcana, which allows us to choose 1 extra card during shuffle time. After all of that, Fuka tells us that Koromaru already has 2 Theurgies available to use. It's not explained currently, but as we progress on through, we'll understand how it's discovered and how Koromaru immediately has it. As we venture through Tartarus, if you open one of these locked loot chests that require Twilight Fragments, a time clock next to the flight of stairs that takes you to the next floor reveals itself. Here, you're able to choose up to 2 members that can level up by 12 to 13 levels at the cost of 6 Twilight Fragments. It will, however, bring you back to the main entrance of Tartarus, but you're able to continue off the floor that you left on. And with my experience, this has been a bit finicky whenever I revisit Tartarus. Like, whenever I find the first lock chest I see, and I, like, you know, open it with the Twilight Fragments, it doesn't activate, which is pretty weird. I also realized that we haven't touched on this when we were reviewing our previous projects on Persona 3, but we haven't talked about the old documents. So, per border floor, as you know, you will always reach a checkpoint, and, you know, the briefcase-style chest there you will find will always contain an old document. And basically, I just found out that these were from the antique shop owner, and I honestly didn't piece this together until I had to, like, you know, look him up, because, like, it kind of caught my interest again when Lai brought it up. But, you know, here's the thread I found it off of, and not to mention that Yukari's original voice actor voices the antique shop owner, and Makoto's original voice actor voices Yukari's dad, and it kind of makes both of their relationship go a bit more deeper. And more of these documents can be found through the Monet passages, but they seem to be written by Mitsuru's grandfather. The next day, Aigis actually goes to school and Miss Toriumi reads the additional notes about her.
Let's see, anything else I should know? Humanoid tactical weapon.
Towards lunch, we get a text from Akihiko to meet him at the front gate by the school. We catch up with him, and then after that he takes us to meet up with Shinji, to which Akihiko tells him about Ken.
Then, I guess I'll stick around.
In this scene, the main character says, "That ass better not crack under pressure." Usually, people's asses are already cracked. Yours is as well, right? Good.
I wonder if I should have gone for the one-piece suit instead.
Not much happens afterwards. Junpei talks with that Chidori woman about, personas and shit, and telling her that he's the leader of this group that targets shadows, and then he gets knocked the fuck out. Ah, Junpei. The shadow for this month's operation is the Hermit Arcana, and I might as well, read it out for what it is. So, the Hermit is basically someone who searches for inner guidance and introspection to understand who they are, while the reverse is someone who's isolated, lonely, and lacks self-awareness. I guess we can kind of relate it on how, it draws power towards itself, and how long it takes for, its main attack, which is the Giga Spark to, initiate, and how its attacks are, somewhat predictable. If you do a tons of damage towards a shadow, it just loses its charge, on the spark, and then you just have an opening chance to deal damage to it. But the thing is that, why don't we just grab water from the fountain and just throw it at the shadow? Back with Junpei and Chidori, Junpei tells Chidori that he was just pranking her about being the leader of this group. After that, the group ends up catching up to them. Junpei knocks her down as she's about to summon her persona, and something about her throws Fuka off as she couldn't detect Chidori until they arrived at the dorm. And if it hasn't clicked yet, she's the navigator for Strega, and with her captured, Mitsuru and Akihiko uses the next day to interrogate her.
Didn't I tell you not?
The one from Brazil is very smooth, while the
The cutscene between Takaya and Jin is interesting, as it somewhat dwells on their past, learning that the power to summon their own persona doesn't require the use of an evoker, well, on Takaya's end, hence why he didn't need to use one during the bridge fight. And we don't really get more moments like this. I think we get 2 or 3 moments between Takaya and Jin talking about their past or whatever, but I kind of wish more of this was explored on.
This was the result of one such killing. I am a shadow, the true self. Regardless, I'm not one to dwell on the past.
On 9/11, we get a message from Mitsuru to deliver a reinstatement form to Shinji to get him to come back to school.
What's this supposed to be?
On the 12th, we somewhat get a deep exchange between Junpei and Chidori as they talk both about their childhood for a bit, and then, just damn it, Chidori's stealing her bro. But it does look like getting Chidori to talk is working, because Junpei is always up to seeing her at every opportunity he can.
I wonder, will our relationship stay the same, or will it evolve?
On the 17th, Shinji tells us after Mitsuru confronts him that he did keep the reinstatement form, but he never gave it to the school. Then after that, Akihiko just comes out of nowhere and ruins the conversation. I hate that twink, bro. I'm really surprised that there's no one around as this exchange is happening. I'm seriously starting to question how coincidental this crap is. I get it, there's a typhoon, but you'd think there'd be a couple of people at least being around, the port? Whatever. Takaya gives us an exchange about what we're fighting for, and you can tell how somewhat desperate he is to convince our protagonist that what we're doing isn't what the world wants. They both understand that there will be a battle arising soon between two parties.
Side is willing to concede, then a battle is unavoidable.
As we return from the exchange, we sleep and we meet with Igor in our dreams, who provides us with more assistance with unlocking special fusions for us. Basically, special fusions are special personas you can fuse. They, however, require more than 2 personas to make, but the payoff is often a very strong persona. And holy shit, we slept for 3 days. If you haven't already checked the shady dude at Club Escapade, he has a security site note that you can purchase. And I'm not sure when this appears, but regardless, buy it, and then use it on the computer way back at the dorms. It unlocks Ambush, and it's pretty good for what it does once you learn it. So basically, when you're running, you'll set a blue trail around you for a certain amount of time, and it can still be reactivated by running. So basically, you'll trigger a chance encounter where no matter what, you will always have an advantage over the enemy. And triggering the encounter from behind will provide a theurgy boost and cause distress to the enemy during the beginning of the battle. The 24th is the beginning of where everyone cleans up the cultural festival decor. I unfortunately didn't do well with Yukari and Chihiro's social links, but there is a funny exchange if you do.
Being able to walk home together, but...
What? Huh? Huh? Wait, what do you mean by...
Later through the day, Mitsuru invites us into the student council room to tell us about what's happening with Shinji. We do learn that her motive of bringing Shinji back to school is so the 3 of them could graduate together, since that was their promise. For now, as where the situation currently stands, Mitsuru extends his absence, hoping that he could walk back onto his promise. I can somewhat relate to this. I did graduate a year ago from high school, and it's always been a good motive between friends. No one gets left behind in school, not even when you're at that moment in your life where you're a 3rd year or a senior for my American viewers, and unfortunately, not many friends I knew had the opportunity, so when Mitsuru brought this part up, it kind of hits really hard knowing that a couple of the people I knew and a couple of friends that I knew did not, unfortunately, graduate at the same time as myself and many others.
But look, if you got time to waste on me, then go spend it on someone else. Like Amada. He's still just a kid. He's way in over his head. I'm still gonna do whatever I can to help. But after that, I'm counting on you. I'll hold on to this. Yeah. I should have been the one to hand it in. Sorry I put that on you.
Before the beginning of October, we can see Fuka is typing very racist things on the internet.
Just what was that for? What reason could you possibly...
Why doesn't Shinji use Endure? Is he stupid? Welcome to October. We have 1 day left before the operation, and, you know, we're chilling with our boy Shinji, and we're making some tempura to, you know, hype ourselves up. Because nothing bad's gonna happen. We're gonna go in there, and we're gonna kick some ass. The midnight operation begins. Fuka detects that there are shadows at the Owatadai Station Plaza, and before we head off, we can see that Ken and Shinji are nowhere with us. According to Fuka, Shinji told her that he'll be joining the fight later, and Yukari sends Junpei to get Ken to wake up. As the crew finally arrives at the plaza, Junpei tells everyone that Ken's nowhere to be found in his room and at the dorm, and that Shinji hasn't caught up with him just yet. The team has no time to wait for either of them since the shadows are about to make their move, and so the battle begins. We are introduced to both the Strength and Fortune Shadow, which is the one that gains a cloak buff from the Strength. Basically, in terms of gameplay, we can't attack Fortune until we take down Strength, and I guess this is a good time to talk about Reverse Strength and what it means. So according to my sources, the Strength Reverse represents self-doubt, feeling drained, explosive behavior, and overall being aggressive. I can't see why it would buff Fortune with Cloak, but from what I guess we can take away from what I just said, is that the Reverse Strength is focused on taking care of others first instead of taking care of themselves, which, you know, leads to their energy being drained. And that's just the best that I got. Reverse Fortune is just bad luck, manipulation, and breaking cycles. When the shadow drops down its wheel, you'll see it will have two colors, blue, which is a buff, and red, which is a debuff. However, given that this is Fortune, everyone is treated equally. From the wheel, if the hand lands on buff, everyone shares that buff, and vice versa. And it's a pretty simple concept, there is not much else to this shadow. As we take down Strength and bring Fortune down to very low health, it pulls out a wheel and two icons that can be inferred as being alive or dead are shown. The wheel spins and it lands on that very small chance of death, but nothing happens. So I guess just orgasms on this thing's ass. After the battle, the crew celebrates their victory and Yukari mentions that Ken and Shinji never showed up. Which leads Akihiko to slowly realize something as Mitsuru tells everyone to head to the dorm for the time being. In that moment, Akihiko tells him that he'll go find Ken and Shinji, and he breaks away from the group. The back alley of the port island is where we find Ken and Shinji. 2 years ago, here in this exact location was where Shinji lost control of his persona and killed Ken's mother. Ken, in this moment, is out for revenge to kill Shinji for it. The scene cuts back to the dorm, and Mitsuru realizes that today, October 4th, is the day when Ken's mother passed, and she tells Fuka to find Ken and Shinji. She gives more insight into what really happened on that day, and as she's about to finish, Fuka tells her that she's found them, but she's also detected another Strega member that happens to be nearby, and it's Takaya. He's here to put down both Ken and Shinji for the trouble that Cease has caused for their group, and from what's revealed, Shinji would have died anyway regardless of Ken's intervention because of the persona suppressants that he's been taking. And then, in another shocking reveal, Ken would have also taken his own life once he's killed Shinji for it. And then everything from this point on is where the story really changes.
First, you're both destined to perish anyway. Shut the fuck up!
Mom.
Just what was that for? What reason could you possibly have to risk your life for this child?
Shinji!
Your companions? How very unfortunate. The fun had just begun.
Shinji! Hang in there!
Aragaki! Senpai!
Aragaki-san!
What's with the long face? Isn't this exactly what you wanted? It's all right. Hold on to that anger. Let it be your strength. You've still got your whole life ahead of you, don't you, kid? From now on, you're gonna have to live for yourself.
But I can't.
Okay. Look after him.
I will.
This is how it should be.
No words can express the sense of loss we feel as a result of this terrible tragedy. He had a lifetime of opportunity ahead of him. As educators, we are to blame for ignoring his silent calls for help. We tragically lost him to senseless violence before we had a chance to help him realize his true potential. Forgive us. Forgive us for our negligence.
Although Shinji wasn't with us for too long, he was still a part of Cease even though he left after the incident. With the promise now left unfulfilled with Mitsuru and Akihiko because of his passing, Mitsuru and Akihiko gained nothing else but the will to carry on with him in their spirits and to fulfill that promise for him. From what we know is that we're too far into this, and that Strega and the Dark Hour needs to be stopped. Inside the auditorium, we catch up with Akihiko taking a moment to talk with Shinji, and it's very heartbreaking watching Akihiko talk to him and just venting out about everything that he feels. It really hits hard when you also know that both Shinji and Akihiko's persona, Castor and Polydeuces, are brothers in terms of appearance, and that you can tell from how close their relationship is with one another. Furthermore, if you know Greek mythology, Polydeuces is the immortal one and Castor is the mortal one, and you can tell what happened with Castor. Both brothers make up the Gemini constellation at the wish of Polydeuces to make Castor immortal like him, which shows that even after Castor's death, he will still be inseparable from Polydeuces, like Shinji to Akihiko. This is the first time we also see someone's persona evolve. Basically, if a turning point or the will of ones has strengthened, their persona will evolve into something else. Like here, Akihiko's persona evolves into Caesar, and along with that he unlocks a new theurgy. Back at the lounge, the group is together and are talking about what to do with Ken. Mitsuru sends Aigus to get Ken to come down, and as Aigus comes back, she says that Ken isn't in his room, which leads Fuka to worry, and she tries to get everyone to look around for Ken. Until Akihiko stands up, drops the hardest line, and leaves.
The dead are never coming back. You have to accept that. But you still have your life. I'm not here to bring you back. You can waste away here if that's what you want. But if you still have the will to fight, then come back and stand on your own 2 feet.
All right. I'm not running away. I'm not running away anymore. I swear it. Aragaki-san, I'll see this through to the end.
Man, it's so sad that Ken actually left the group. It's so sad. Like, very. Why is Koromaru getting up? You don't fucking tell me. Please don't fucking tell me. God fucking.
Hi. I'm sorry if I wasn't making any sense today.
As we return to Tartarus, the cards that we collected after defeating Fortune and Strength are available to be found in Shuffle Time. Fortune offers all party members in your party an increase of 8 health points, and Strength has the same effect, but instead it's the skill points that are increased, and it's increased by 5. So, I was going through Tartarus in this section, and I forgot to open up one of these lock chests, and I found a tuxedo, but you wouldn't guess who it was for.
What?
Oh, I see. So you're still learning then? As a dog, I'll need to give you strict behavioral training.
I'm kidding!
I want to also mention that during Akinari's social link, you'll reach a point where he wants to write a book about a pink alligator who couldn't hunt for food due to having outstanding features. Other animals would call him disgusting for his color, besides a bird who couldn't fly. That bird would stick with the alligator and practice flying until it could. If it doesn't sound familiar, during Adachi's 5th social link, Nanako reads a book about the pink alligator, and Kanji's social link features a kid mentioning that his teacher wants a knitted pink alligator from Kanji to where he mentions the book. I always wondered in this social link if Akinari had written many copies that we didn't know of, and his mom ended up publishing it for him, but I guess we wouldn't know since we would end up having this only copy. Hey guys, so a bit of an update. I was working on the script for November, and I did a bit more digging after I submitted my October video, and I wanted to give credit to Lane on Twitter who took a screenshot of this. So from here, it just sums up Kanji's social link and who the book was written by, which was Akinari. Mitsuru ended up finding the book in our belongings, and she published the book and spread its existence by word of mouth. Unfortunately, I'm guessing Akinari didn't list himself as the author, as at the end it says the author is unknown. So I thought I'd mention that. After the exams, we focused on Fuka and Natsuki, her friend who was moving due to her father collapsing and not being able to stay around the area. Natsuki gives Fuka some advice that she takes very well, and then she realizes why she has the power to see others, and it was because of how she was scared of how others would see her. But now that she realizes what her want is because of Natsuki, which is seeing others getting along together, she now doesn't have to try and please everyone just to be with them, but tries to please herself and everyone just so they could get along well. Unfortunately for Fuka, after reawakening her persona, I don't think she's okay.
I think I figured it out.
Oh.
I've made up my mind. I'm going to do everything I can with the power I've been given.
Sure?
What exactly do we do first? How about we add some protein powder? Hey, don't look at me like that.
Oh.
Check it out!
We promised we'd become strong together. I won't let him down.
That is not true. Once you actually see my upgraded form, I suspect your socks will explode, as they say.
On the 28th, Ikutsuki wants us to organize Shinji's belongings, and as we head to his room, we can check his desk and find a cardboard box consisting of his stuff, along with a piece of paper that looks familiar. It's the reinstatement form that we gave to him, and he had it signed, but not fully completed. Mitsuru enters his room and notices the form in our hand and is surprised as well, but she wants to keep the form between us, and she'll tell Akihiko about the form once they leave the dorm, as she thinks that he wouldn't approve of it. There's nothing else in this room after that, so we are free to leave. We're spending the last day of the month hanging out with Koromaru, and the good boy got us a snuff soul. I also don't know who the hell this child is, but he is really pissing me off with his presence.
Besides,
Jin?
if the Dark Hour disappears, we might forget everything that
I
happened.
don't care!
Welcome to November. We are nearing the end of the game, but we still have a ways to go, and what the hell? Following later that day, the group holds a meeting down in the lounge. Everyone's talking about the crazy stuff that has happened this year and how they're all looking forward to defeating the last shadow and just living their lives out as ordinary students. With the question from Yukari, we learn that Mitsuru wasn't recruited from the chairman like the others, but that she had awakened her persona during the attack when the Kyojo group and herself were investigating Tartarus, which opens up the question of why she was exposed to something like that at a young age. The next day is the operation, and Fuka does her usual scan, and the shadow is found near the Moonlight Bridge alongside Strega. Approaching Jin and Takaya on the bridge, both parties talk, blah blah, yeah, hell yeah, and the fight initiates. We're up against Takaya and Jin. These guys are pretty tanky and have powerful moves, but as long as you got your charge or concentration skills on your personas, it should be easy, and if you got crit pay, then you're pretty much set for this encounter. Ending phase 1, we enter phase 2. And depending on if your party has very good evade skills / accessories, they can avoid attacks easily. Unfortunately for Junpei, he didn't dodge, and you will get a good Shin Megami Tensei moment. And for me, Takaya shifted to Jin, and that caught me off guard on my second playthrough, because on my first playthrough, Yukari evaded one of their attacks, and Junpei and I just critted both Jin and Takaya to death. I wish there were more surprising moments like this, but unfortunately it's just for this encounter only. Defeating Strega, Jin yaps for a minute and Takaya proves his existence by placing his revolver at his own head, which leads to Jin grabbing Takaya's wrist. Rather than giving themselves up to us, they jump. And whatever. Moving on to the final shadow, we can see it floating, and accompanying it are 3 statues. The main objective here is to take down all 3 statues, and once they're defeated, the Hanged Man shadow drops onto the bridge, allowing us to attack it, and I guess now enters the mandatory Arcana boss explanation thingy. So the shadow we're fighting is the reversed Hanged Man. The Hanged Man upright represents self-sacrifice one should make to help out or save someone else for the better, basically embracing change through sacrifice, while reversed represents delays, stalling, and resistance. This is better shown with how we can take down the shadow until we defeat the statues. The shadow is using the statues to stall / delay the inevitable, and it's not even making a sacrifice to help out the statues that we're fighting against unless it itself is in danger. As we get the boss down to low health, it uses Grim Transcendence, and basically it gets more actions and becomes more stronger. But my man Crit Pace shuts that shadow up, and with that victory, we did it.
1, 2, 3. Hip hip hooray!
Hip hip hooray?
Hip hip hooray!
It's a fat bitch!
And now the group celebrates their win by emptying out the Kirijo group's money on sushi, gambling, and buying lunchly. Early in the morning on the 4th, Pharaohs meets us for the first time during the day. He tells us that he won't be seeing us anymore, and his social link finishes even though we didn't get to hang out with him an extra 2 times. I guess since now all the shadows have been defeated, Pharaohs has served his purpose, and I think the game's almost done, so wow, it's been a hell of a journey, guys, and I think this is it. So we can craft Thanatos, which I'm guessing is the final endgame persona, so hell yeah. Thank you, Pharaohs. Later that night, we enjoy the sushi, and Junpei wants to take a picture with the entire group to celebrate. Unfortunately, it looks like Akutsuki and Aigis won't be able to join in on time, so we take the picture anyway. And of course, Gunpei and Aki Feetko messes up the entire picture, and we have to do a reshoot later.
How about you, Koro-chan? Are you excited for all this meat?
And after that, the fool will hopefully rank up to rank 10. Wait a minute.
Just look at the time. It's almost midnight. The hell?
If you had any doubts that it was over, you'd be right. With Akutsuki and Aigis being late and a bell ringing out so loud that all of us can hear it at the dorms, we gear up and head towards Tartarus. We find Akutsuki and Aigis at the entrance, and we've been duped. We hear from Akutsuki that destroying the 12 shadows means nothing to ending the Dark Hour, and that it will still continue on. But since we've taken down all the 12 shadows and reunited them, we've reawakened death, and an event called the Fall to come forth, freeing this world. And once the Fall comes into plan by a prince, they will become the ruler of the new world. That prince claiming to be Akutsuki. Remembering the video, Yukari asks Akutsuki about the video her father recorded, and yes, this asshole went out of his way to edit the video to have Yukari's father backing up Akutsuki's statement that we have to defeat the 12 shadows. With Mitsuru stepping in to oppose Akutsuki, he has Aigis do the dirty work for him and captures our cast.
Understood. Energy output at maximum.
Aigis, what's wrong? Aigis, please!
Engaging.
We awakened to be chained up to a cross, following Junpei, Yukari, and then everyone else. Ikutsuki has Takeharu held, and Aigis has her finger guns near his head. With the both of them talking about Takeharu's father, and with Takeharu himself regretting everything his father did, all the while Ikutsuki wants to pursue what his father initially wanted without exceptions, he makes Takeharu to be the first sacrifice and he tells Aigis to kill him, but she resists due to Mitsuru's pleas. Which leads to Ikutsuki grabbing out his pistol and yap about something being 10 years or I'm afraid it's been 9 years or some shit like that. And as the cutscene plays out, and because of his nonsense, he gives Takeharu time to grab out his gun and...
Blast it! Aigis, execute the sacrifices now! I'm putting an end to this!
Aigis! Hey, come on, I know you wouldn't do this!
Do it, Aigis!
Aigis.
What?
Father!
You good-for-nothing failure of a machine! I'll do it!
Koromaru!
It's all over, Chairman.
You don't get it, do you? Why do you waste your time searching for a reason to live in this broken world? There's no point to it at all. The only possible way to fix this is to start over! Yes, I was chosen. I'm going to be the god of the new world! What a shame. I was so close.
How did it come to this?
Ikutsuki-san!
Father! Father!
Father. My father once made a promise. He swore he would atone for putting our generation in danger even if it cost him his life. But I wanted him to live. I became a persona user so I could protect him.
Following the next morning, with the turn of events and the death of Takeharu, we don't really know what to do now. With his passing going around the school and the interface telling us that we have 27 days until the full moon, we don't really know what to do now. At this point, we can only progress through November until something comes up. After school, we receive a message from Akihiko and we go towards the dorm to see what's up. At the dorm, everyone sits around together and they discuss what to do now. With Mitsuru gone for a week to settle with everything that occurred, we're all stumped. We don't know what to do. But Akihiko brings up a good point that Tartarus is still around and that we should keep training to be prepared for whatever we learn comes for us next. After the conversation, Fuka hands Yukari a disc that was in the possession of the chairman and says that she needs to watch it. As she watches the video from her father again, the part that was cut out from the initial video actually plays its entirety. This is the actual video her father left for someone to find. And learning that her father did really try to put an end to all of this, it gives her closure knowing that her father did his best to control all of this before everything went down. As the video ends and Yukari now knowing the truth, her persona reawakens into Isis, and alongside it, it learns a new theurgy that applies concentrate to all party members, which is a very powerful skill. The next day, Junpei meets up with a disinterested Chidori and tells her about the news about Takaya and Jin, before she changes the topic to asking Junpei about what he'll be doing in 2 years from now. And he notices how she hasn't hurt herself anymore and grabs her hand, and she jerks it away from him. And she just has a moment and tells Junpei that it isn't fun with him anymore and tells him to never visit her ever again. Heading back to Tartarus, we have the Hanged Man Arcana card added to our shuffle time. Basically, the Hanged Man rewards you with a random incense card that can be used to increase a persona stat, and it's pretty good. We rank up Fuka and she unlocks a skill to do a Tartarus search. Basically, the skill analyzes the entire floor you're on, and you can easily fast travel to the next floor if that's what you want to do, but the greedy shadow that you sometimes encounter and then do that stupid left and right minigame can be skipped when you use a Tartarus search, but mind you, it costs 50 skill points and it's very taxing. So I went into Tartarus to farm XP now that I can make Satan and Hillel to get that Armageddon theurgy. So to trigger the Reaper, which is a very dangerous threat until you obviously have a busted persona or have the Armageddon theurgy, you just have to stick around a floor for like 3 minutes, I believe, to where Fuka mentions that, something dangerous is approaching, and then the Reaper is here with us.
I've carved my own path, you followed your wrath, but maybe we're both the same. The world has turned, so many have burned, but nobody is to blame. Yet staring across this barren, wasted land, I fear new life will be born beneath the bloodstained sand.
It's reading! It's the Reaper!
So me being a moron, I didn't wait for the dashing charge attack thing, or whatever it's called, to get like 100% seize advantage. So I just attacked the Reaper. He killed Yukari and placed Akihiko in a one-shot state. But I ended up killing the Reaper, but holy crap, that was a ton of XP for everyone but Yukari. But I do want to also mention that if you head to the next floor to escape the Reaper, it will still follow you until you, I believe, leave Tartarus. Not like leave out of Tartarus, but like, take the teleporter out to the main entrance. On the 7th, Junpei leads us to a flower store to buy get well flowers for Chidori before chickening out. He brings us to a nearby bench to tell us about his troubles with Chidori and how he feels about being struck out, at the final run when he was in baseball. In choosing your responses, he thanks us for backing him up. November 9th begins and we are introduced to a new transfer student. This is Ryoji Mochizuki, and this guy already has the women on his side. But he shares his glance with ours, and walking over to his seat after winning a game of musical chairs, Ayas takes interest with him.
Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
You are dangerous.
Rejected right off the bat. You're one interesting girl.
What the?
My man Ryoji has 3 girls simping for him until Miss Toriumi comes up and asks him to come down to the faculty office to deal with the paperwork for his transfer, before glancing around and asking us to accompany him. Finishing up the paperwork, Miss Toriumi requests both of us to take the music boxes to the musical room. And as we move the boxes to the musical room, Ryoji notices a piano in the room and walks over to it. And to break the ice between, us and him, he plays the piano. He then asks us if we could be friends since we're both in the same shoes, being transfers. And, it's like we've known each other for a long time.
Are you familiar with the Velvet song?
Velvet turtle, my style fits tighter than a girdle.
We see that Junpei and Ryoji are getting well, especially now that Junpei told him about the top 10 cute girls at Gekkokan. So that's great. I'm sure his reputation is already below the surface at this point. On the rooftop, Yukari finds Mitsuru to talk to her about the school trip since if she couldn't be found, the trip would be cancelled. Having a moment, Yukari then talks to Mitsuru about the circumstances they're both in. She doesn't want her and Mitsuru's friendship to end because of everything that had occurred last week. And Ryoji enters the rooftop to find Mitsuru too. Then my man that we just met tries to hit on Mitsuru, but because of her being blunt, she doesn't understand his advances, which prompts Yukari to remind her about the meeting that she has to attend, and Mitsuru leaves.
Well, how about you, Yukari-san? Care to join me for dinner? I know this place on Shirakawa Boulevard. Ow!
Back with the Junpei side episode, we can head back to Rafflesia, and after ignoring that the S in Sprouts isn't highlighted, we can scroll down to the end of the lineup and find white flowers. The flowers that Junpei was looking at. We can buy these and hand them to him at the dorm, to, you know, make sure Junpei has something beautiful to give to Chidori. As we progress through the next few days, the school trip to Kyoto begins, and we can see that Mitsuru made it. So everything should go well on this school field trip. As we arrive at the inn we're staying at, we take note of the courtyard until Miss Choriyumi arrives and tells us to go to our rooms. Junpei wants to be with the girls, and Aigis wants to stick with us until Yukari sets everything straight and tells Aigis to come with her and kick Junpei back with us.
Man.
Moving on to the next day, we go sightseeing around Kyoto, and it's just shown in screenshots, so perfect. By the riverbank, Mitsuru tells Yukari how she feels about everything that had occurred, saying that doing this was all for nothing and she shouldn't even have gotten herself involved since it led to her father passing, leading Yukari to slap her and waking Mitsuru the hell up. And as Mitsuru regains her composure from Yukari's slap, Yukari tells Mitsuru that they both have to be strong to finish what their side has started, and it allows Mitsuru to become even more stronger and even reawaken her persona. Nothing much happens on the second day, it's just more photos, and back at the same area where Mitsuru and Yukari were, we're hanging out with Ryoji, and bro grabs down a music box and we listen to it. He then states an ominous fact that we're not going to continue off of, and he asks us why whenever we have to part away from those we love, whether it be friends, families, lovers, etc., why do we try to first get involved with them in the first place even though we'll probably never see them again even after death? Since if you have a relationship with them, it makes it even harder to say goodbye, which is a deep thought. Like, that's kind of true. Like, why do we even bother making connections with others, even though, you know, we won't see each other often, or even worse, again. Returning to the dorms, we hit the hot springs with the dudes, and Ryoji mentions that both the guy and girls have their own separate times for the baths, which could lead to another can of shenanigans. So basically, we'd be in here when it's the girl's turn to take a shower.
Don't worry. We can say we didn't know. That it's all just a misunderstanding.
Wow, this hot spring is huge.
Oh shit! Yes! Yukari-san and Fuka-san! This is my lucky little— Shut up, you dumbass! They'll hear you!
Okay, so we are offered a choice on how to deal with this scenario we're in, and finally, I'm tired of these shitty Johnny Atlas thingies where the boys walking on the girls walking on the boys and whatever, and it's always the boys that get shat on. So I'm glad that this time we have the option to get the hell out stealthily because of Junpei and Ryoji's shitty gooning activities. While this plays out, I kinda wonder how this would work in Persona 4 Rewind. Maybe Yu has to pass a speech check, or has a high enough intelligence to come with a response. I don't know. But yeah, whatever. We get out unscathed, and we're playing it dumb.
What's going on, guys?
Oh, don't worry about it.
Okay.
When we return to the dorms, we can interact with Aigis and Fuka, who will comment on why we are sweating when we're near the girls, while Mitsuru and Yukari do not care. Later that night at the hospital, Takaya and Jin break into Chidori's room, and Jin hands Chidori her evoker, and she starts blaming Junpei for getting close to her, since now she's worried about dying. She calls for Medea, and the cutscene ends there. The next day, around the dark hour, Fuka wakes us up and calls us into the command center. She's detected Persona users outside Tartarus, and it can only mean Strega. They somehow survived the fall off the bridge. Fuka clarifies that although she's detected a Persona user, it's someone that she thought was in the hospital. Junpei, after hearing this, runs towards Tartarus, and we follow in after him. Meeting with Junpei and Chidori, this woman throws an axe at him, and he's like, "Whoa, you could have hurt someone." Like, dude, I wonder why she did that. Anyway, we approach and we take over for Junpei, and so here, for the Chidori boss fight, you can obviously attack and inflict damage to her, but I also think you can just block your way through, but that sounds boring, so we're not going to do that. So to put simply, Chidori cannot die once she reaches a threshold, and I think this is a turn-based encounter until, you know, it ends. So basically just try to stay alive and then that should be it. The encounter ends as Chidori falls to her knees. Junpei tries to reason with her and she tells Junpei that she fears attachment and becoming horrified at losing those that she loves, telling him that when he's spending time with her at the hospital, that fear grows. The moment stops when Takaya and Jin enter the scene. Takaya disregards Chidori and pisses Junpei off heavily, and with a warning from Akihiko,
Junpei, look out!
Junpei.
Huh?
I'm so glad you're awake.
Chidori? Uh-huh. I thought I was.
I guess I was wrong. My fear, my heartache, I blamed it all on you, Junpei. I'd never felt that way before I met you. And for the first time in my life, I realized what I wanted.
And what's that?
I want to be with you, Junpei. Forever.
I want to be with you too.
But it could never last. And it breaks my heart. We are different from you. Since the moment I gained my power, I've known the day I was going to die.
Huh?
The very thought of it horrified me. Up until then, I'd never once thought about death. But I realize now, dying means I won't see you anymore.
Chidori.
That's why this is for the best. You can't die here, Junpei.
Me? Die? What? What the hell?
Junpei-kun! Junpei! It's her persona. Does it have the power to bestow life?
I don't believe it. She brought him back from the dead?
But wait, if she goes as far as completely reviving someone, the cost for that would be...
Chidori!
So it worked. I can hear you. The sound of your beating heart. Ba-dum, ba-dum. That's all I needed to know. Now I can go on living in you. I'll always be with you.
Huh? Hey, Chidori! Stay with me! What the hell are you even talking about? Hey!
This is how it has to be. But don't worry. I'll protect you, Junpei. Always.
Yeah, same. I've got your back. I'll do everything I can to protect you. So come on.
This might be all I ever needed. Just being in each other's arms. It's nice.
Chidori!
I love you, Junpei. Thank you.
Chidori, you're kidding, right? Chidori, say
something, please. Chidori!
After giving Junpei her life, he summons his persona in rage, and as he summons it, Medea and Hermes reawakens into Trismegistus, and whatever the hell he just used injures Jin, forcing him and Takai to flee.
Get back here!
Junpei!
Let me go! I'll...
She entrusted you with this life! Don't just throw it away.
The 24th arrives, and it's just an internship program. It's just a nothing burger for the next 4 days, but nearing the end of the internship, Ryoji and Kenji talk about how they haven't seen Junpei in a bit, and how they're all going to be there for him when he comes back. And if that doesn't tell you how strong their relationship is with a bro, then I don't know what will. Finishing the internship, Junpei is called down because of a gift that was left for him. It's the notebook that Chidori used to sketch on. As Yukari opens it, she compliments the drawing, and it draws Junpei to take a look. It's a beautiful portrait of himself, obviously drawn by Chidori, and it gives him a bigger motive to defeat Strega and unlock a new theurgy alongside it. As Ryoji leaves for the day after hanging out at our dorm, Aigis asks everyone why he was here, and then to go on and mention that he, Ryoji, is dangerous. As she turns away from the protagonist and walks near the staircase, she mentions that she has to do something about Ryoji. Later that night, if you gave the flowers to Junpei, Mitsuru calls the hospital about Chidori, and as she tells the receiver to take care of her and find her family, she learns that Chidori's body has been transmogrified, meaning that she's alive?
What is going on? I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens for now.
Welcome to December, everyone. This is the biggest month in the game where shit starts to go down, so I want to try and not waste any time and get this month's review going. We're almost done, guys. Hang in there. Today, on the 1st, Ryoji invites us to the piano room to give us thanks. When asking for a reason why, he tells us that he feels like he's running out of time and that he needs to see us.
It's been a joy to experience and learn new things every day. Both sides need to come to an understanding. That's how connections are built, right? I want you to know that you're important to me. I know I said I wanted us to be friends, but I actually want to be something more. What about you? I don't really get it myself, but
After playing the piece, Fuka knocks on the sliding doors and enters the piano room to compliment us for playing the piano. And as we tell her that we didn't do it, and the camera switches back, we see that Ryoji is nowhere to be seen.
I wanted to ask. It might have just been my imagination, but I thought I sensed Ryoji-kun's presence in this room.
On the 2nd, as we walk to school, Aigis starts off her conversation by mentioning that she wants to do her best to protect everyone, and then brushing it off as we ask her why she's bringing this up, and taking note that today is a full moon, so something is bound to happen. As the time strikes midnight, we can see Ryoji is around the Moonlight Bridge, followed by Aigis, who then enters the scene. As they both talk, Aigis mentions to Ryoji that the dark hour is an unusual time where a regular person wouldn't be able to walk around, and given that Ryoji somehow hasn't transmogrified into a coffin, it gives Aigis some closure on why she was unsure about him, calling him dangerous and then her enemy, which slowly starts to make him remember of what really happened 10 years ago on this bridge. Aigis keeps pressuring him with the information she knows about Ryoji, which leads to him being confused and asking who he really is, and then Aigis tells Ryoji her purpose, and then tells Ryoji who he truly is.
Yes, 10 years ago, on the night when I was born, I stood on this very bridge.
My sole purpose is to destroy shadows. That is the reason why I was given both a sense of self and a persona.
I am the bearer of the 13th Arcana. Everyone knew me as Death. But when I came into being, a part of my power was broken off and scattered. I wasn't at my full strength back then. I was incomplete.
Even so, your power was still far too great. Since I was unable to defeat you, my only option was to seal you away. However, under the circumstances, there was only one suitable vessel. A human boy who had the misfortune of being nearby. I had no other choice.
Now I see. I was inside of him all this time. And I unwittingly led him to discover my 12 missing pieces. And then... I get it. I understand now. I remember everything. I know exactly who and what I am.
Palladium!
Don't be foolish, I guess. You can't win. I'm even stronger than before.
The machine is created to serve a specific purpose. I will destroy you. That is my only reason for existing!
It doesn't have to be that way, I guess.
Sorry. I can't carry out my mission. I'm a machine that can't fulfill its purpose. I have no reason to exist. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry. I'm scared.
Back at the dorm, we can see Mitsuru, Yukari, and Fuka are in the command room surveying the Dark Hour and looking for Aigis. Fuka ends up finding Aigis' location and then gathers everyone to the bridge. As we talk with Aigis, she tells us that she's sorry for failing us, and then Ryoji comes in. And as he does, Aigis shuts down. Ryoji tells everything about himself, being the appraiser and what he knows about the shadows. He tells us the shadows are here to assist rebirthing a maternal being, and that the appraiser would draw the maternal being towards it, so she can awaken. From here, he talks about the Kirijo group's experiment that occurred 10 years ago, where they collected a ton of shadows and contained them, to be unified into something bigger before it was interrupted, and that cause of the interruption was Yukari's father, which is why after death was contained, it broke off into 12 separate shadows that we would end up fighting, and why he made that video to whoever would find it. He then tells everyone that he was sealed inside our main character, and as a result of what occurred way back in April to when we awakened to our persona, Ryoji himself awoke as well, along with the 12 shadows that wanted to be reunited to complete the formation of the appraiser, and before he could tell us more, he collapses, and then we take him and Aigis back to the dorm. Moving on to the next day, as Ryoji is in the command room with us, Mitsuru asks him a question of who that maternal being is.
What happens if she returns?
The maternal being is called Nyx.
Who the hell's Nyx?
Nyx is the mother of shadows. In ancient times, she bestowed death upon this world. If she awakens, the world will be swallowed by darkness, and all life will perish.
All life?
Are you saying everyone will die?
While Ryoji somewhat corrects her that technically we all surrendered the will to live, and then that everyone would be suffering from a permanent apathy syndrome / becoming the lost. And remember, those were the people that we saw that were standing around and groaning. As Yukari asks Ryoji if there is somehow a method to defeat Nyx, hopefully in the same manner like what we've done to the 12 shadows, Ryoji gives her and everyone a heartbreaking answer that Nyx cannot be defeated, and reinstates that he's the appriser and that given that he's here, it proves that the fall that Ikutsuki was talking about is coming. As Akihiko desperately asks him when the fall occurs, Ryoji gives him an answer that it will happen before spring.
What are you guys freaking out about? Nick schmicks, am I right? All we gotta do is win and we're golden. And we haven't lost a single fight yet, have we?
When you're up against Nyx, power doesn't mean a thing. It's like trying to fight the inevitable. Like death or the flow of time. Nyx can't be defeated. She just can't.
What? This is bullshit!
As Ryoji finally states what he just said, he says that now that he has the human form as a gift from coexisting with us, he lets our cast know that he can offer them a choice. A choice where they can live in peace until Nyx arrives. But Ryoji's life would have to be taken, and if the appriser disappears, any recollection of the Dark Hour would disappear alongside him, making the death of everyone not filled with hopelessness and despair, but being happy and not knowing when they would all succumb to the fall. Ryoji desperately tells everyone that he must die so they can live in peace, and tells everyone that only we can kill him, and make that choice for everyone. Then Yukari says her piece and says that she wouldn't want to forget everything about the Dark Hour, as it would be running away from the truth that we all know of. Everything we worked towards would have been for nothing. As Ryoji assures that we don't have to give him our choice now, he tells us that we have until December 31st, New Year's Eve, to decide what we want to do. After that, he would disappear until Nyx's arrival, and then he leaves the dorm, leaving everyone lost in thought.
Hey! Ryoji, wait!
Stop, Junpei-kun! I felt Ryoji-kun's presence vanish just now. There's no point in chasing him. He's gone.
Ryoji-kun.
I guess he'll be back.
As the 4th comes around, we can overhear students talking about apathy syndrome being nothing to worry about, as it would put people at ease, and then mentioning that it could be some form of new religion as a result of the circumstances that's occurring. Afterwards, anywhere you go, the fall will rise in numbers compared to the previous months. And to be honest, I might be a bit nitpicky here, but I'm not sure if it's due to engine limitations, which I don't think it is, or if it would somehow make it difficult to track our main character. But I really wish that there were more of the lost during this month. Like, I wish the mall, the port island, and everywhere you go, I just wish it was filled with more of the lost, as it shows that we really need to do something despite the odds, and that, you know, the lost are really growing in numbers. I can't recall if it grows as the game goes on, but we'll see what happens around January or late December. On the 5th, we hear that Ryoji won't be attending school because of his parents being transferred again, so it looks like Ryoji won't be able to give us any more information aside from that. Inside the lounge 5 days later, we're gathered around to talk about if everyone had made their choice on the ladder. Akihiko doesn't have a choice yet, Mitsuru doesn't have a choice yet, and then when forwarded to Fuka, she doesn't even know either. And when Junpei is asked by Yukari, he doesn't know either. And as Yukari tries to tease him during this dark hour, he gets really pissed off and takes out the despair he has on us. Everything does end up calming down though, as Junpei recollects himself and everyone giving their thoughts on what was brought onto them. As we, Junpei, and Yukari share an apology, Mitsuru ends off the gathering with just trying to live our lives until New Year's Eve. Moving to somewhat a brighter note, as we do Akihiko's linked episode and participate in his training regime, the goons from the previous episodes catch up with us and reveal some threatening information that they know where we live and about the occupants. And as Akihiko tells them that they're going to have to get through us first, the tough guy tries to make the fight easier by telling him that a pro boxer that Akihiko is cannot throw fists against an amateur like the weasels they all are. And to that, we and Akihiko say, "We don't give a fuck," and the encounter ends with all of them on the floor. As this linked episode comes to an end, it ends on a bright note that Akihiko comes to accept Miki's handmade medal and coming to appreciate his friends and for us being with him. We unfortunately don't get his protein powder to use on our pancakes, but a dumbbell is a good start. While doing Mitsuru's social link and, getting to this social rank here, I do want to voice my thoughts on this unfortunate circumstance that Mitsuru was in. I want to say that I'm sure everyone agrees with this, that I really hate forced marriage, and I don't understand why it or a form of it exists in this country and some parts around the world. I don't know why we're having young men, young women marry an older person just because it provides a huge benefit towards the family that's, agreeing to this proposal. I guess it's something that me being a Gen Z or me being a dumbass wouldn't understand, but what I do understand is that it's always the one who's being forced into it being unhappy. Like, why can't we, allow these young adults like myself find love through natural events? Like, being forced to go through something like this is something that no one should go through. Like, I can't even imagine myself being forced to, marry an older woman. I mean, I'm sure Kenji can, but not me. Fuck no. Like, I had a family friend that I knew that unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know how she felt, to be honest, got married with an older man. I was very young at the time, and I didn't like that it happened to her, and I guess it's how we are in society with age gaps that influenced me. But yeah, I don't know why it still exists or why parents think their younger child should be with an older person just to have them and themselves live a better life rather than focusing on the happiness of their child. So, I don't know, it's just pretty weird. I don't know. But yeah, that's just my rant coming to a close. So, sorry about that. So, I'm spending Christmas Eve with Yukari, and it's just a regular dating day. But I'm not gonna lie, Plonium Mall looks very beautiful with the Christmas decor neatly placed everywhere, and as we take a seat near a fountain, Yukari gives us a chocolate cake, and we're offered an option to give her anything. I'm not sure how she reacts to gifts. Like, I'm sure you give her something worthless and she can say like a scripted thank you, but for this occasion I chose to give her a brand purse since Yukari's into, fashion trends. The day before the promise day, we get a knock at our door and it's Yukari. She gives us the good news that Aigis is okay and that the injuries she sustained has been fully patched up and re-oiled up. So we're called to meet up later tonight at the lounge.
I have a favor to ask. Tomorrow, when Ryoji-kun comes back, please, kill him.
Well, that escalated a bit quickly. Aigis voices her reasons about why we should kill Ryoji, which is something that's really off-putting about her, because you'd think she'd be the type to see it through to the end, but it's like during the weeks she was being repaired, she came back different. As she asks our cast what her purpose is now since she couldn't carry out her initial task, which was to defeat death again to protect us, Junpei, Fuka, and Mitsuru tell her what their tasks are, which is to live, go against the inevitable, and just to make sure this world continues on. As Aigis hears the reasons why we are going against Nyx and what for, something inside her awakens, and she initiates a new mission for herself, which is to stare at fear head on and choose the way that she should live her life. And that's the promise that she'll hold on for herself and for others. And because of the influences we gave her and given out our reasons, her resolve strengthens and her persona reawakens into Athena. On the promise day, Ryoji returns back to our dorm. This is where he's expecting us to finalize our decision. He heads into our room to wait as everyone makes sure they know what each other's decision is.
Hey, it's been a long time since we talked like this in your room. Though back then, I had a different form and a different name. It seems like you all decided to let me live. You're all going to risk your lives on a battle you can't win. But they're not the ones here right now. You are. I'll say this one more time. If you kill me, Tartarus, the Dark Hour, and the memories of your battles will all disappear. Tomorrow, you'll wake up as a normal high school student. You'll be able to live in peace until the moment of the fall. But if you let me live, you'll spend every waking moment until that day dreading your inevitable death. Nyx can't be defeated. It's pointless to fight her. Are you still thinking, or have you already made up your mind?
Ryoji asks us if we made up our mind. Here, we are given two choices, to either spare Ryoji or kill Ryoji. For the sake of everyone else and what we've been working towards, we choose to spare Ryoji.
I guess I wasn't able to change your mind. There's still some time until midnight. I didn't want to have to show you this, but I have no choice. do you see? I am not human. I will bring death to this world until I am finally satiated. There is no need to hesitate over killing me. Now, consider this very carefully. Is confronting Nyx really what everyone wants? Some things in this world cannot be changed. That's something you can't comprehend. Memories are not set in stone. Old ones can be replaced with new ones, creating a new reality. Don't you think you should put a stop to everyone's pain and suffering? It's up to you. Only you can make this decision. Now, this is your last chance. Tell me your answer. Please kill me. More than anything, I don't want to see you suffer. After all, you're someone very special to me.
As he tries to convince us to kill him by revealing his true form, he gives us another chance to choose how we really feel. We finalize our decision and ask for the final time to spare Ryoji.
I understand. As sad as I am to hear it, it's your life. You're free to do what you want with it. I'll respect your decision. Let's get back to the others. I need to tell you guys how to confront Nyx. Somehow, I knew that's what you'd choose. I know you better than anyone, after all. I have this feeling like I always wanted to see you again. That's why I came back to you as Ryoji Mochizuki. Maybe there really is some power out there that can do the impossible. And if there is, I know you all have it. Oh, right. Here. I want you to have this. I know this isn't exactly the best timing, but I never thought I'd feel this way. Whenever you play this music box, I hope that you remember me. Come on, let's go. Everyone's waiting.
Heading downstairs, as Ryoji tells everyone that it is impossible to defeat Nyx, we all disagree with him. And honestly, just like what Akiko said, we don't care if it is. So this is where he tells us what to do. Ryoji tells us how to confront Nyx, and basically we have to get to the top of Tartarus, which is surprising because there's an end to it, and we have to get there before the promise day, which is a month from tomorrow, that being January 31st. Ryoji tells us that Tartarus acts as a beacon for Nyx, so when she comes to, she knows where to go. So once we get to the top of Tartarus on that day, that's when we can confront Nyx. With everything being told, Ryoji gives his goodbyes to Aigis, and she too gives him a goodbye. And as he leaves, he bids us good luck for the following new year and for our encounter. The result of all of us agreeing with what we all want to do, which is to put an end to all of this, the full social link maxes itself out and a new bond has been reborn from it, that being judgment. Often associated with heroes, the Full Arcana acts out as a concept of something new and going beyond the unknown, like our protagonists in our cast, adventuring into Tartarus to uncover the mysteries behind it. And judgment is reborn from their resolutions and journey. They realize their calling, their goals, and what their mission is until the promise day. They have a deep understanding of their life and what awaits them. They just have to make their way towards accepting it and living a life free from any obligations, which is why they're all here, making way for a better future for themselves, despite what's waiting for them for like a month from now. The day after making our choice to not kill Ryoji, time still marches on, and after the guys bid each other a happy new year, it looks like they still retain their memories of everyone, as Ken tells us that the girls are at the shrine and we should go to meet up with them. As we arrive at the shrine, Junpei oogles at the girls for a bit before saying something pretty weird.
I'm so glad I came.
Ken asks the girls if they're feeling a bit cold, and Yukari tells them that she feels a bit cold, but at least is helping her wake up. Ken rephrases his question and says that Junpei told him that the girls don't have any other layers underneath their kimonos. As Yukari goes to punch Junpei in the foot, the scene ends.
Welcome to Liberty.
And we are greeted with, in my opinion, one of the best overworld themes for this game. While it's not like the original, where the soundtrack is more hollow or more so distant, if that makes sense, it still sets the mood very well. Most of the Reloaded soundtracks are good in their own way, some that I do prefer, but there are some aspects of the original that still sound very good compared to their Reloaded track. The song gives much more of a depressing but yet hopeful feeling, like 30 days from now we are awaiting a hopeless fight, but yet looking forward to it with optimism so we can do whatever we can against Nyx, as time itself is bleeding and it won't be waiting for us as we too are bleeding along with it. We have to keep our chin up and give Nyx all that we got, otherwise the bonds we forged, the memories that we made in this world, like inside our school, within the city, even with ourselves, disappear. We're just living with determination until that battle, the battle for everyone's souls. Otherwise our soul will be fading because we gotta pull the trigger before Nyx unleashes mass destruction. As we head back to the dorm, we receive a call from Elizabeth telling us that a new path that was now blocked off is now available for us to tread on through. Afterwards, Living with Determination plays. One of my favorite themes as well, as it tries to uplift the player, but yet remains depressing. Even though our characters are all individually scared of what will come, they are determined to live with the strength that they have and to carry it on until the promised day. So I went into Tartarus to clear up the floor since I don't grind anymore, and that I just want to have a path set clear so when I come back on the promised day, we got that path and we could just go straight up to the final floor. The Judgment Arcana that we formed after we determined that we want to fight Nyx ranks up every time we fight one of the floor bosses here. So there are 10 floors consistent with bosses that we have to take down. On the final floor, you guys better be prepared for the Genocidal Mercenary. This guy will cast every status affliction skill on your party, like, Charm, Confusion, and all the other stuff. So make sure you're stacked up on anything that nullifies or cures those ailments, because you're gonna otherwise have a hard time. I remember this guy from 10 years ago when he caught my ass off guard, so you can tell I had a rough time beating him. And, here I am now, kicking his ass again with no problem. Defeating the final shadow, we are bestowed with the completion of the Judgment Arcana, and we confuse Messiah, which is the ultimate persona. The next day, we can go out and see more of the Lost, along with the flyers of the cult that everyone at school has been talking about. And everywhere around the Port Island, you can see these flyers are everywhere. On the 8th, we, Junpei, and Yukari are hanging on the rooftops, remembering the times of the past year where it used to be only the three of us. And as we take that time to remember the past, we all hype ourselves up to go against the odds.
Dude, now that I got you guys, I feel way more pumped!
Oh. I just remembered, Junpei. You never gave me back that CD.
Returning back down, we noticed that we can do Aigis' social link. When doing Aigis' social link, it's more so focused on finding her place in life and learning about the world that surrounds her. So I'll talk about Aigis here. And don't worry, everyone will get their own section in a second, or rather, near the end. Aigis is part of the Aeon Arcana, and just like Marie, both of them share a similar social link, which is to learn about the world that surrounds them. Like Aigis being a robot, she can't comprehend emotions and understand why we act the way we do. And given that she's now seeming to comprehend emotions like us, this social link is to help her understand what we know of life and the mysteries of it. At rank 7, the elderly woman who requested our help at the beginning of Aigis' social link to help find her cat tells us that we don't need to worry about her cat anymore, as it knows it's about to pass away. And her cat did come by to see her one last time before finding a beautiful place to let her body rest. After the conversation with the elderly woman, Aigis brings up the questions that I really wish we have the answers to, but unfortunately we don't. Going back a week, we're at Hagakure with Junpei, Akihiko, Aigis, and Yukari. We're here because Akihiko owes us a treat for losing the babe hunt competition back in July. Aigis notices a magazine on the counter and opens it on the table for all of us to see. It's about the cult that was being mentioned around late December and early January. It would be some sort of coincidental nonsense, but Akihiko notices a picture of the Kaya, who's listed as the Messiah in the magazine, saying that Nyx will help save the world, which is
the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
We also hear from Akihiko that Jin has a well-known profile on the internet, so he must have also influenced the public to change their perception into this BS. On the 14th, if we head to Club Escapade, some nut job will try to tell us to come see the Messiah and listen to him. Like, yeah, sure, like, we're gonna do that.
These blind hopes for the future are the root of the people's suffering. They can never be saved because they look to a future that doesn't exist. It doesn't matter whether you can defeat Nyx or not. Why, you ask? Because you won't even be able to reach her. If you dare to oppose me, I will show no mercy.
Get the hell out! On the 21st, we're in the student council room with Mitsuru. She gives us the good news about Chidori and the fact that she's alive, but unfortunately she hasn't awoken just yet. Like, her body is between like a weird transformation of being alive and dead at the same time, but Mitsuru then receives a call from the hospital to confirm that Chidori has awoken.
They say she's just awakened. It's hard to believe, but it seems that Chidori really has come back to life.
Did I hear that right?
Iori?
Chidori is... Huh? Is this a joke? Some kind of trick?
No, it's not a joke or a trick. She's currently recovering in the same hospital as before. But Iori... she probably...
Chidori's... alive?
What? Hey, Junpei! What about your cleanup duty? Jeez, what's gotten into him?
Well, I guess it's a moot point now. But perhaps it's for the best that he found out this way. I think I'll head to the hospital after this too. Could I ask you to come along?
Entering the hospital, it's true. Chidori is alive and well, but unfortunately she doesn't remember Junpei. Mitsuru brings up the transmogrification idea that we know of, that those who transmog don't have the potential to wield their persona, and given that Chidori did transmog after she died, everything that she knew of in the past few years has been nothing. Like, her memory has just been wiped to slate. More so, moving on to why the white flowers we bought for her worked, the doctor said that the flowers that Chidori would restore to life, he would preserve for his studies until she passed. There, he laid the flowers that he kept, including the one that we gave to Junpei, on her chest. We can easily speculate that the flowers, including the one that Junpei hesitated to buy for her after she told him to never visit, gave out that little spark that would restore her life. And with that, it puts an end to the Junpei and Chidori arc. With everything on a very good and happy note, we and Mitsuru go to the door to leave, and before we do, we can hear Fuka and Yukari taking a second. Coming back to the dorms, we can interact with Junpei, Fuka, and Yukari, who are happy about Chidori being alive. And after talking with Akihiko, I couldn't agree more. We know that Junpei is going to give this battle everything he's got now since he knows that Chidori is alive. When you come back on the 24th, Akihiko reminds us that we have one more week until we confront Nyx. And until then, we have to spend our time wisely, as when we enter Tartarus on that day, we cannot leave until the battle is done.
Oh yeah, I forgot you could see anywhere in the dorm from the command room.
Does that mean one has been placed in each of our rooms as well?
Well, you need a key to use it, and I doubt any of the guys would have the guts to look in our rooms. Oh, if they did, Nyx can wait. I'll tear them apart first.
Yes, that's right. The camera's recording right now. Yoo-hoo!
On the 25th, after choosing your options for the career consultation, we're told to get Aigis. And after Kaz tells us where she might be, we find Aigis on the roof overlooking the beautiful view of the island. We learn that the questions she's been having ever since she's learned to live for herself, no one's been able to answer them. Along with it, she understands why she wanted to be close with us, so she can monitor Ryoji. But even though death still lives inside us, Aigis wants to still be by our side, as she may find the answers to the questions she's been having, and we're willing to still have her be alongside us. Ending off of Aigis' social link, she takes a selfie with the both of us in it. She realizes her purpose as a machine, specifically a machine with the heart of a human being. She knows that one day we'll give our goodbyes, and along with it, the memories we've made will disappear, but not for her. Aigis, with this resolve, will do everything she can to make memories and preserve it, so technically we can continue to live on inside her memories.
Feelings will continue to live on inside of me. I will never forget. Even if you all change, or if time ends up pulling us apart.
The promised day arrives, and we can tune into Tanaka's amazing commodities to see if we can make a purchase. But unfortunately, everything's all sold out before we can even grab out our flip phone. And because we're so accustomed to buying from the show and the goods appearing on Monday/Tuesday, the game takes away that moment so we wouldn't know the outcome of the battle. Following tonight, everyone talks about what would happen after we defeat Nyx. And given that Ryoji is, remember, a part of Nyx still, and if we defeat her, their memories would be gone, but the fall would not occur. Junpei mentions that we all should make our promise to meet each other after the battle, which everyone agrees with. The day they promise to meet each other is on the day of graduation, since they would all be together. However, the where it should be is somewhere where we can see the city has returned to normal, and everyone agrees that it should be the school's rooftop. After that, we can interact with everyone in the command room, and instead of them asking to join your party, this time they'll tell us what the resolve is and what they're going to be fighting for. Entering Tartarus, we have to progress on from where we initially couldn't proceed through. Heading up a few floors, we arrive at floor 259. Fuka tells us that she detects Strega, but it's only one of them. Possibly Jan, or whatever the fuck his name was. If you pan the camera up, you can see the sky above us, and we are making progress as we're almost at the top. And heading up the pathway, the door itself opens for us, and we can see Jin waiting.
Hugh, where's your partner?
Takaya went on ahead of me. He's destined for far greater heights than someone like myself. All right. I think that's enough talking. Time to get serious. Let's do this.
So Jin's boss fight is pretty straightforward. We gotta give him everything that we got. And after your party takes their turn, Jin does a weakness scan so we can target our weaknesses. Again, as long as your party has a good evade, recovery, or whatever they have, you should be okay. Getting him to half of his health initiates phase 2, where he just throws a stun grenade and inflicts confusion for all of us. I don't know why I used Masai here instead of like a simple persona that has Meipatra, but Salvation does the job anyway. Getting him to a quarter of his health is phase 3, where he uses the syringe he stole from Subject 106 and injects it into himself, basically restoring his health and boosting damage, but at the cost of losing HP per turn, and cannot dual wield any guns like a fucking badass. As Jin talks about fucking Takaya, I don't know, in the next few hours or whatever, the Shadow catches up with us and we're offered a chance to figure out what to do with Jin. And if you plead with him to come with you, he just calls you a loser in every language known to man until you leave. If you keep quiet, he realizes he left a spicy Taco Bell in his suitcase and uses it to blow himself and the Shadows up.
Very end.
Hey, you hear that?
No! Going up 4 more floors, we enter a bigger arena no different than Jin, but we see a set of stairs awaiting us. Takaya reveals himself and talks about why he wants the fall to happen, and then brags about the many who are following him and his cause for the arrival of Nyx and some other stuff, before shitting on us for not knowing about the formation of Nyx and aiding him in what the world wants. As he steps down the stairs to talk solely to us about him not showing any mercy once we encounter him on this day, his boss fight begins.
That if you dared to oppose me, I would show no mercy. If you intend to deny the future I have envisioned, you'd best be prepared.
Again, like Jin, Takaya's boss fight is also straightforward. There is a twist that comes later, but for now, we just gotta do what we can to damage Takaya.
I don't like the look in your eyes. What is it that you see before you now? An admirable spirit. That's right. That's how it should be.
So bringing him to half of his health brings in phase 2, where he casts Megiddo Loin, and everyone dodges besides us. Wow, we suck. Knowing that we got him at the final phase, we all block, and knowing that he'd use some BS powerful skill. But, however, in a shocking turn of events, as he tells us that he will bring us to our knees, he grabs out the evoker he kept when he assisted us in defeating that shadow from the bridge, and uses it.
Salvation has come! Hypnos!
What to do?
Everyone has been struck by fear! I have a bad feeling about this! Please, get up!
What the hell? Why can he use theurgy?
What's next?
I have to heal everyone! Quickly!
With a lucky crit and an all-out attack, we do a crap ton of damage to Takaya, and Aigis finishes him off.
This can't be.
Yeah, stay right there and think about what you've done.
What a truly baffling group you are.
Making your way up the stairs finally begins the confrontation with Nyx.
So this is the top.
Look at that! In the sky! Oh no!
Nyx?
There's no mistaking its power, even without my persona. I've never encountered anything like it before. You...
Ryoji-kun.
That was my name for a time. I almost miss it.
What's going on? Wait, could you be...
I am merely a harbinger of the fall. Or perhaps I should say, former harbinger. There is no longer a distinction to be made between Nyx and myself.
I see. So this is your purpose.
Still, I don't regret my decision. We're taking you down no matter what you are!
I see. Then you must already understand. What people fear the most, what they try to turn away from. That is the wretched thing I have become.
We know that.
Yeah. We're ready.
It's the one absolute for all living things.
Then, you must also understand that it is futile to resist. Will you still face me? Surely, there must be fear in your hearts.
Yeah, of course I'm scared. But who gives a shit? I've got too much to live for!
I'm sick of running away. Living means looking death square in the face. So I won't back down. Not even from you!
Even if I have to sacrifice myself, I will stop you. This is my choice!
I see.
Get ready, everyone! Nyx is attacking! I'm also sensing multiple shadows approaching from the lower floors!
Stand by, team! Intercept those shadows! This is the final battle. Victory at all costs!
The moment man devoured the fruit of knowledge, he sealed his fate. Entrusting his future to the cards, he clings to a dim hope. Yes, the Arcana is the means by which all is revealed.
So Nyx's gimmick is that he changes Arcanas every time you deal enough damage to empty out his health bar. He has no weaknesses, however, you can still deal critical damage, but you cannot perform an all-out attack. There are 14 Arcanas that Nyx goes through, so the battle will be long and tough. Each Arcana phase allows Nyx to change resistances. So one phase he'll completely nullify or resist damage to, let's say, any form of physical, but the next Arcana he switches to, he will be vulnerable to taking damage from physical attacks. But he does add a powerful attribute to his attacks. Like here, once he switches to Emperor, his sword becomes more powerful and more so he starts to use almighty attacks. So basically he will give you everything he's got and use the special moves that the initial 12 shadows that we fought used, like Doomsday Doctrine from the Lover's boss fight and Grim Transcendence from the Hanged Man, and you have to be ready to deal with it. You'll know you'll make it to the end after you deal with the Hanged Man phase, where he initiates his true phase, Death.
Knowledge. He sealed his fate. Entrusting his future to the cards, man clings to a dim hope. Yet the Arcana is the means by which all is revealed. Beyond the journey you have taken lies the absolute end. It matters not who you are. One thing is always certain. Death awaits all.
I sense the Death Arcana. This is Nyx's true form.
I didn't want you to suffer, but the time for that is long past. Is this really what you desire? Well, I already know the answer. Very well, let us continue until the world meets its end.
I am with you to the very end.
In this final phase, he uses a unique attack called Apocalypse, where it shoots down a red beam that brings our party down to low health. And I didn't want to see that happen, so I just used Armageddon. Thinking that we've defeated Nyx as he collapses, he does a fake out and commends us for how we've gave him everything that we've got, even though we know what will come of us, saying that if there were more of us, the fall could have been prevented.
Then perhaps the fall could have been prevented. But it's too late now.
It's the moon. It kind of looks like Ryoji-kun's getting pulled into it. No, wait. It's the moon that's being pulled down to us!
You're kidding me. Are you saying that Nyx is the moon itself?
It's coming. Soon it will descend upon us, crashing into the earth.
Where am I?
Hey, what's going on? What the hell is that? Wait, look up there! Is that the moon? What is going on?
What is that thing?
I can't get a signal.
My phone isn't working. What's going on? No. You heard anything about this? What's going on? Holy crap! Look at the moon! Holy shit, this is amazing! It's really happening. The apocalypse! The world is finally ending!
After the cutscene, Takai makes his way up to the top and is surprised to see that the fall is about to start. Afterwards, a heavy wind is casted from the moon and it pins down our cast.
God damn it!
We've come so far. It can't end here. Okay, gotta stay calm. That's right, like Fuka was when she saved me. I'm the one who said we're always connected. That's how I know you're still hanging in there, Fuka. I'm scared as hell right now, but I know I can't give up. Right, Fuka?
What's going on?
Am I dreaming?
Man, what am I gonna do?
How can this be happening?
What on earth?
Are we in the afterlife, dear?
I have no idea. What the heck is going on?
Someone's gonna have to pay big for this one.
I guess all I can do is believe in them. Don't die out there.
As we lose our consciousness, we awake in the Velvet Room with Igor and Elizabeth. Igor reminds us of how the strength of our potential solely relies on the bonds we forge with those in our lives. And depending on who you forged your bonds with, a compilation of how they think about you during this moment is played. All of the social links we've completed forges the World Arcana card, a powerful card bestowed on those who have truly fulfilled themselves, and in every Persona game signifies the end of our journey as we truly understand ourselves, our purpose, and what we must do. As we accept the card, the elevator ride we've been on comes to an end as we have finally reached our destination.
It seems that, in addition to death, fate has also dealt you the wild card. You must accept your destiny. Our contract has been fulfilled. I have completed my role as well. You were truly a most remarkable guest.
How are you even standing right now?
Hey, you can't be going out there by yourself.
No, don't go!
No, wait! What are you doing?
Damn it! Why? Why the hell can't we get up?
Don't do this! We've already come so far together!
God damn it!
Why aren't you listening? Come back!
The final encounter ends with us fighting Nyx herself. Nyx will use every attack she has at her disposal to kill us, but luckily for us, the strength of friendship slowly gives us the willpower to defend ourselves and make our way towards her.
What can we do? How can we help him?
Don't give up! We're gonna get through this, together!
Give him strength! Take my life if you must!
Don't worry, I'm invincible, so legendary. If I fall down,
You better come back from this! You hear me?
I don't believe it. He's going to face it all alone.
No, he's not alone! I'm not letting him die!
About a situation. Every second I was losing patience. I couldn't execute like daily operations. I could, where we had such a deep relationship. But I chose the path of sure, giving my all, pure, whatever outcome. However it's played out.
You promised, didn't you? Please, you have to make it back!
Receiving the final surge of power from our friends and Shinji backing us up, the ultimate power forges itself within our hands. With one faint smile, we are brought into the galaxy with everyone aside from us. Fuka detects nothing here when we use the power to seal Nyx, and with that, our crew arrives at the decision that we didn't make it.
Don't tell me he...
The hell are you saying? That's impossible! Try again! You can't be the only one! No way.
Damn it! Not again!
We put our lives on the line just like he did. In fact, we came here expecting to die. So why only him?
Why am I so powerless? Am I really unable to protect the ones important to me? This is what I was trying to prevent.
You're out there, aren't you? I know you are! I refuse to believe that you're gone! Answer me! I know you're listening!
We're here! Say something, please!
As we respond to the cries from our friends, a familiar voice speaks out to our cast as well.
Don't worry.
That voice...
I will sleep once again. Peace will return to this universe. For you. And for him. He's found the answer to life's greatest question. It just happened a bit sooner than it will for the rest of you.
Life's greatest question.
I guess you'll find the answer one day as well. Your life too is precious, irreplaceable. You just need to realize how the bonds of friendship have changed you.
The bonds of friendship.
The Dark Hour will soon vanish from this world. You will truly be liberated from its dominion. The legacy of life will continue. Congratulations. You have the miracle you sought. May we meet again someday.
Now we're... How did we end up back... Hey! Look over there!
Whoa, What's up with Tartarus?
It's finally happening. Everything's going back to normal.
Our job is done.
Wait, is that...
As the Dark Hour in Tartarus starts to slowly disappear, we make our way out of what was once Tartarus without any signs of injury. As they're all now together, they can celebrate their win against Nyx and continue on life as normal. Coming back to school, we meet up with Junpei and Yukari. You can take note that Aigis is also there, who's staring at them from a distance, which means that they did really forget everything that had occurred. The statement is backed up when Junpei notices her and comments on how cute she is, and how it's like he's never even noticed her before, even though they both live in the dorms together. As Yukari catches up with us and notices Aigis, she calls out to her before Aigis responds back and runs off. Afterwards, school goes on as normal. Today is the final day where you can start to socialize with all your socialings that you forge a bond with. You'll notice it's different as it's just a conversation between you and them. You're not going anywhere doing social link type things, it's just that you two will just be talking about things you both will look forward to doing in the future. Talking with our bros first, when you start with Junpei, it's just comments about rumors about what will happen in April with the new staff coming along, and given that it's Kenji that said it, it leads to Junpei bragging that he has a special someone until he pauses for a second, and he takes a second to try and remember if he had that someone. Then after that, he just tells us that he's going to skip out with the plans that we were going to have today. Downstairs to meet with Akihiko, he tells us that he's just wandering around the school one last time before he moves on. And just like Junpei, he tells us that he's happy that he's dedicated this time only to boxing for only 3 years, until he pauses for a second as well, before shaking it off and telling us that whenever we're in trouble, he'll always be with us. Leaving the school for a sec, we can find Ken outside to give Akihiko something he left. He comments on Shinji for a second and only remembers him when he used to be at the dorms before going out for a short while, and then telling us it's like he's forgotten something important and that he feels very sad and that his chest is aching. He puts it off and thanks us for our help throughout this year, and I just want to say that most of the jokes made toward him shall not be taken seriously. Like, Ken is goated. Like, in Arena Ultimax, he is fucking awesome. So I thought I'd just clear that up for a second. Now, onto the social links and their respective arcanas as promised. This will be in the order I started them off in this recording. Speaking to Mr. Ono, he will give us a letter written by Bebe, and remember, Bebe is the French student who visited us temporarily before going back home as we completed the social link. He is part of the Temperance Arcana. The Temperance are usually those who have trouble balancing their life and the hobbies they enjoy. Like, Bebe loves to sew and enjoy the Japanese culture until the passing of his aunt, which gives him the conflict in the social link. Bebe told us that he will sew a beautiful kimono to convince his uncle to bring him back. And as I read further through the letter, Bebe tells us personally that he decided that he doesn't want to come back and finally understands that besides his aunt, his uncle and relatives paid for his expenses here. And given that his uncle is unfortunately grieving over the loss of his wife, Bebe wants to stay back and be with him as he wouldn't enjoy his time in Japan if his uncle was sad. And tells us that he's not going to allow those who would fund his trip back here just for his own sake, and concludes that he will stay in his home country and learn Japan there. Then as the letter comes to a close, you can really tell Bebe had a hard time trying to complete it. But his social link ends beautifully, as akin to Temperance, with him going back to his normal life in France, and finding his own way to fund his trip back to Japan. Next up is the letter from Hayase, who represents the Star Arcana. The Star Arcana embodies traits like being hopeful and happy, along with dealing their own struggles, whether it's internally or externally. Like Hayase, who does track for a scholarship to go to college before his mother got injured and leaving him responsible for taking care of his siblings. At the end of his social link, he goes off to the auto shop to do car repairs where his father initially worked. The letter starts off with his manager knowing what his issues was at home and decided to help him continue track and field. And near the end, he tells us that his mom and siblings are fine on their own and thanking us for everything, and how he's going to keep practicing to be our best rival now that he can protect those that he loves, which represents the joy he has and the hope that never left. Finding Mitsuru, she comments on how we don't look well before taking us to the student council room to see around it one last time. There, she talks about moving out of her dorm and being ready to get things done for her group, and importantly, herself. So, the Empress Arcana usually associates with them with wealthy women who are in authority and have motherly-like traits since, Mitsuru has no mother and has the responsibilities passed down by her father. With the motherly-like traits, Mitsuru always makes sure we're okay and sometimes backs us up in most of the Dark Hour operations and is usually the one who's up to something when we're not. There are many instances where you can see her take charge, speak up for the group, and just taking care of us. Her social link ends on a good note and her ex-fiance's group will continue to work with her, but now Mitsuru herself knows that she won't run away to escape anything that troubles her. Her goodbye ends with her making plans to go out somewhere with us on our motorcycles at some point in the future. Next up is the lovers, and that is Yukari. Lovers try to maintain harmony and moral views and are usually associated with those who are popular, like Yukari for example. Her social link revolves around her trying to block out her mother who went out to date other men after her father's passing. Completing her social link allows her to open up and to try to reach out back to her mother, and at some point she wants us to accompany her when she goes back to see her mom. She wants us there with her so she doesn't say mean things to her mother and to just keep things pretty civil. After that, she thinks of ideas that we could do together during spring break. Fuka comes next and represents the priestess, which is about listening to themselves and the desire to help others. Most of Fuka's social link is to help her become more open and excel at being a great cook. We're helping her realize that she's okay for liking electronics and technology, even though it's a thing that no girls will be into. Her goodbye shows us that she's become a stronger person and accepts the fact that she wants to be strong for herself and start an electronic club to make new friends and maybe find new interests, and she goes off looking for club members. Chihiro is next from Justice. Chihiro's social link revolves around her being comfortable with men because of the issues she's faced back with her dad at home. Along with that, we're helping her learn how to speak up for herself, basically allowing her to settle with the naturalness of how everything is. Given that she's the treasurer, during her social link, the money for the school has gone missing and she's being accused of it. She goes to confront the teacher over this and the accusation gets cleared, and she finds her own personal justice. Speaking to her now, she wants to go against the, no student-teacher romance. And I mean, she's free to do that, but for that reason, I'm out. On a real note, she says that she wants to be courageous like Mitsuru, and that she accomplishes, as in Persona 4, she becomes the student council president on the school exchange trip. So it shows how far she's grown as an individual. Representing strength is Yuko. The Strength Arcana represents personal passion, growth, and power. Basically, we're helping Yuko find out her future and what she wants to do. The kids that we helped train gave her a thank you letter which sparked that idea. Because of it, Yuko now knows what she wants to do after school, and during her goodbye with her, she tells us that she's going to put her dream into her own hands and continue studying before finding a job. Finding that passion, that growth, and the power to pick up her grades, and obviously have an idea of what she wants to do. Moving on to everyone's favorite D-Dog is Kaz, who represents the Chariot Arcana. Chariot is all about victory at all costs, setting aside any hindrances. Kaz's social link features him sometimes not even appearing for some instances during the ranks due to his knee injury. He wants twins for his nephew, which is why he's going through the pain, and after that issue's been brought up, he takes a step back and instead works towards helping himself out first without any issues. Given that now his knee has fully healed, he's excited to get back to running and he'll be more open towards advice instead of taking it against hurting his pride. He gives us a goodbye before going off to tell everyone else. Moving on to Nishikiyama, Origiri, who is from the Emperor Arcana, which is the representation of a male with higher authority that believes in only their views. But obviously that changes slowly over time where they become more open. Origiri's social link starts off with him being an asshole towards other students, until a cigarette confrontation. The teacher Origiri is instructed from goes through extensive means and wants Origiri to get to the bottom of it, and even going as far as to expelling the student, which he disagrees with. At some point, we're placed as suspects by the teacher, and Origiri defends us against them. After learning that the teacher was trying to find a scapegoat, Origiri himself would learn how to be more truthful towards others and becoming more open, and even accepting others' opinions. During the goodbye, he tells us that he's quitting student council and talks about the cult situation that occurred back in January and how they mentioned a society without a future. He goes on to mention that he wants to become a teacher and agrees that many individuals should have the right to their own education and wants to allow society to grow with the help of knowledge towards those said individuals. With that, he gives us a sincere thanks. On to Kenji, who's part of the Magician Arcana. The magician revolves around immaturity and self-confidence. So, for example, during Kenji's social link, he was into Emery, who was a teacher here at Gekkoukan and wanted to marry her. And this guy was serious when he mentioned that, and he was ready to move on without his friends, including us. When she moved because of the rumors that had formed, and to go out to marry her actual fiancé, it left Kenji in shambles. But obviously, he got over it and realized how naive he was and ended up being happy with our company. Along with that, he wants to make sure that we choose the same elective class, so we end up with the same teacher, and hopefully that teacher is, well, you know, up to Kenji's likings, or some shit like that. On to the hermit. So Maya, as we will find out in a bit, is actually Miss Toriumi. And the hermit are usually those who do things out of sight through anonymous interactions. So we help Miss Toriumi cope with the issues that she vents out to us during a video game about her current life. And once we try to leave after seeing quote-unquote no one to talk to, our flip phone falls out of our pockets and Miss Toriumi picks it up, revealing a pretty shocking surprise that we used the confession that she made online as our wallpaper. So yeah, she freaks out and thanks us for helping her turn her life around, until freaking out again and having Miss Teruyuchi to go find help. Keisuke from the art club is part of the Fortune Arcana. Fortune are those who loses the sight of what they want to do due to outside influences from those who are close to them. Keisuke wants to pursue art, but his father, who is a doctor, wants him to be a doctor as well. The rest of the social link is more about Keisuke's issues with his father pressuring him to quit the club. However, seeing him off at the train station so he could pursue his studies abroad, 2 times a woman and then later a man down his social link collapses and we go to help them out. He realizes that at this point he wants to help people out and ends up pursuing becoming a doctor. During our goodbyes, he tells us he bombed the exam for studies and will reapply next year and strive to pass. For Nozomi, I got no idea. I never got to start a social link because the item he needed for us to talk to him never spawned in when I spent literally 2 hours on the first section of Tartarus grinding for that item. So I have nothing on this guy. But I've seen from Reddit that he can moonwalk, and I guess that's the good thing about him. So there you go. Heading over to Club Escapade, we can talk to one of the bartenders who's standing outside, and he hands us a letter from the monk, who represents the Tower Arcana. Tower itself represents the isolation of someone that drives them to keep themselves away from their close ones. Mutatsu during this social link starts off mean to us, but becomes more open and starts to wonder about his family the further you do his social link, to where he would stop hanging around the club to go out and find his family. Basically, our influence towards Mutatsu would break that isolation and allows him to open up more to his family. His letter tells us that everything's now okay with him and his wife now that they both love each other again. Going to the shrine, we can talk with Maiko's father, and remember, Maiko is the child that we talk to here. Maiko is part of the Hanged Man Arcana, and the Hanged Man again are self-sacrificial due to being stuck between 2 extreme differences, like Maiko's parents divorcing. While Maiko tries her best to have her parents both not divorce, it ends up not to be. However, at least Maiko can go on with what happened without it hurting her later on, as when you go to talk with her dad, he tells you she's made a ton of friends and now takes care of the rabbits at her school. So she's overall having fun with her mother and her new life.
What the hell?
On the bench, we can speak with Akinari's mother, who will tell us about Akinari and his life. Akinari represents the sun, and the sun is the idea of accomplishment through life and learning how to intertwine their life into their own stories, like how he wrote The Pink Alligator based on his life. Remember the ending of how the pink alligator would cry so much that he passed away from sadness, and his tears forming a beautiful lake for any animals to come rest? And how they wouldn't know that the pink alligator made this place for them? Again, just as mentioned, Akinari never signed the book that he wrote, and it would lovingly be read by many children thanks to Mitsuru. His mother tells us that she's going to do everything her son would have wanted and will do it just for him. Her goodbye ends as she leaves us with a simple saying that,
If you love someone, let them know it. We all go through life with the same struggles, the same heartbreak. We should all lift each other up with the same love and kindness as well. I'm sure you have something precious you can share with people too. Don't ever forget it.
I want to also reveal that this is how we got the book from Akinari.
My final moments. My body feels lighter. I'm so grateful to have met you. It seems so insignificant, but maybe there was some meaning in it for both of us. Thank you. In the end, I'm glad that I was born. I have to go now. Maybe someday we'll meet again. I'd like that.
Heading out to the bookstore, we can find Bunkichi and Mitsuko standing outside of the store. Both of them represent the Hierophant Arcana, and basically those under this Arcana are older and wiser, more so commonly going through a time with losing their loved ones. During the social link, they tell us about their son who passed away, and that the persimmon tree that was planted in the courtyard of our school was to be a tribute to their son since he taught there. That tree would end up being rumored taken down to make room for another structure of the school. After that, during our time with them, they would tell us to try and put a stop to it as it's the only thing they got left of him. However, making ends meet, the couple comes to the conclusion that maybe it would be for the best that it be taken down, as their son would have wanted the school to continue on with building more opportunities for education. The goodbye ends on a good note as Mitsuko tells us that the persimmon tree has been replanted to somewhere where their son can overlook the school and see the many new children starting high school and then moving on to another chapter in their life. They tell us they'll continue to support our school and the students there. Coming back to the dorm, we can talk with Koromaru, who's worried about our condition, but don't worry. We tell him that we'll be okay and we head inside for a new day tomorrow. Going back inside, we can see Tanaka on the news. Tanaka himself represents the Devil Arcana, like devil, like from Bible. Usually, they are, as the word represents, not caring towards others, but only care about themselves. He would teach us business and what he knows about it, and how to calm people. However, near the end, he would end up donating tons of money to an orphanage. Not because he wanted to, but because the children there may become big entrepreneurs like himself. Near the end, the PR team asks him what he did with the huge sum of money and tries to get him for being a fraud. However, it's obvious that the money went towards the orphanage that we mentioned earlier. However, still being a prick, he gaslights them into thinking that he did some shady shit with it, and then runs off. What an awesome ending. I hope he doesn't become a cold, wealthy, rich guy, and then some dude on like a shady website in like a few years from now. Heading back to our room, we receive a text message from someone, and it just reads, "Thank you." While the game doesn't tell us who it is, we can easily piece together who sent it to us. After that, we go to sleep to start tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, Aigis knocks on our door and we go to see her. She tells us that she's very happy to talk to us and reveals that she remembers everything that happened in the past year. And from the choices that is offered, it reveals that we too also knew. As the ceremony has already begun, Aigis suggests that we should go to the promised area to wait for our friends, where it all began and where it all ended.
Why don't we go ahead and wait for the others? We can enjoy the peaceful view of the city.
This past year, I accepted an important responsibility as Student Council President. When I first addressed you from this podium, I spoke to you all about seizing opportunity while you had the chance. It must have been fate that intervened and gave me an important reminder of this. As many of you know, my father He unexpectedly passed away due to sudden illness. Sudden illness?
Wow, that's rare. I've never heard her stumble in a speech before.
It's a big day. It must be tough to talk about her father.
I remember now. That's right. After my father died, there was a time I lost motivation to live my life.
Am I forgetting something?
Sonata-senpai? What are you doing?
Koromaru! But no longer. I shall honor my father's will. I won't run from the future. I'll face it head on. Not a single doubt remains in my mind. And the reason...
Our promise!
Mitsuru.
That's right!
It's because I have forged such wonderful friendships. And we swore that we would never lose hope, no matter what the future may bring.
Senpai! We remembered him, and Aigis!
Yes, I did as well. Let's go. They're waiting.
wind. It feels so nice. I admit, I'm finally noticing the beauty of spring. It's wonderful. And yet, without exception, each and every season will come to an end. We fought side by side. We faced the world's end. And now, I'm finally beginning to understand what it was I'd been searching for. I always wondered what it really meant to live. Now I think it's following your heart, fighting for what you can change, and accepting the things you can't. Nothing on this earth lasts forever. Every life will one day fizzle out. That holds true for all of us, and as soon as you come to terms with it, you realize something. You see what really matters, and find out what it is that gives your life meaning. When I learned that I wasn't strong enough, I was tormented by it. Now I understand why. Protecting others is the duty I was given. But to me, it was more than an obligation. At some point, it became something I wanted to do for myself. Once I decided to try and prevent the fall, something inside me clicked. When I thought about how I might never see you again, that's when I first understood what mattered to me the most. And so, I made up my mind. What I want is to protect you from now until the end of time. I want to stay by your side. And I know I'm not the only one out there who could do this. But still, I want to. Because I'm positive, if I do it for you, then nothing's a waste. My life will have meaning. So, thank you. Sorry. What's gotten into me? It's good. I finally found a reason to live. So why am I... They're here. I see it now. I have friends. We support each other through thick and thin. Not everything needs to be for some greater purpose. Just caring about someone can be enough. That's all we need to give our lives meaning. As for me, I found my path. And that's to protect you with my life. Thank you so much for everything. You must be tired. Go ahead and rest now. I'll be right here. I won't be going anywhere. In a moment, the others will be joining us. It'll be okay. I'm right by your side, here to protect you forevermore.
So, as of the release of Persona 3 Reload, there's been many resurgences of FemC, aka Kotone Shiomi, who is a playable character that we could select back in Persona 3 Portable. Basically, this route allowed you to play as a female, along with it came with unique social links and being able to romance the guys. I also heard that there were some instances of Sayori and Ryo being found in the files like all the way back in March, so I have no idea if that's true or not. However, if it's true, it seems like they were considering adding their social links, which would be a bit weird since Sayori is the Hermit and Ryo is Chariot, and I can see why it would conflict with Maya and Kaz. The Persona 3 Portable modding community just got hit with a huge update 4 months ago for the FemC project, featuring an original opening theme and all of the anime cutscenes finally replacing Makoto. And it's a pretty huge victory for the team and they deserve all the praise, as I'm sure this must have been a long time in the making since the release of Persona 3 Portable on the PC. Akin to that is the FemC project for Persona 3 Reload that's still in development. So far, we obviously have FemC and her persona Orpheus, along with a pink UI color swap, Theodore, who's pretty useless, tons of original/remixes of her persona battle music that was used in Portable and Q2 that can be activated once you either get ambushed or gain an advantage over the shadow. Along with that, we can choose between what all the sprites in the game that features her can look like, via the protagonist bust-up when choosing an option, her glass shard look, and many various that I may have missed. There's also a silly option that you can toggle and it makes her say the most dubious shit.
Go with not that. Fuck you! What about this? Enemy down! Leader, it's all yours! Fuck you! Blew off. Womp womp. That's a win for the team! It's hot as hell, everyone! Hot ass fucking ass room, my man. Leader, shut up!
And besides that, there are a ton more that this mod offers, and whenever you have the time to try it out, please download it and just mess around with the many options. And I think that pretty much sums up everything I've got to say about Persona 3 Reload. There are definitely some things I may have missed or spread misinformation about, and I apologize about that. This video has been haunting me for almost a year now, and I'm happy it's finally over, as I can now submit this as a final project grade for my film class, and have my teacher stare at this for more than 2 hours. Once again, thank you for getting this far. me, Lai, An, and Andrew want to give you all our thanks. Thank you so much to our classmates, Professor Takamura, and you, the viewer, for watching and getting this far. Happy holidays, guys. Stay safe.